phones on vibrate or turn them off as not to disturb the meeting would be greatly appreciated. Sarah, if you would do roll call.
Sure. Councilman O'Flaherty.
Present.
Councilman Fazio.
Here.
Councilman Hoppenstedt.
Here.
And Supervisor DePiero.
Present. Okay, welcome everybody, and I'm glad that everybody had a chance to come out tonight. The first on the agenda, we are going to do a public hearing, and this is on the local law for the tax cap. And what this is a law, the local law that was introduced. It is introductory local law number 2. I will read it, open up the floor for questions, comments, and we will move forward. So, the town of Plattekill, notice of public hearing, introductory law local law number 2 of 2024. Public notice is hereby given that on October 2nd, 2024, the town board of the town of Plattekill duly introduced a local law entitled Override of Tax Levy Limit. The proposed introductory law authorizes but does not require the town board to override the limit on the amount of real property tax that may be levied by the town of Plattekill pursuant to General Municipal Law 3-C, and to allow the town of Plattekill to adopt a budget for fiscal year of 2024 that requires a real property tax levy in excess of the tax levy limit, as defined by the General Municipal Law 3-C. The introductory local law also contains a statement of intent and authority and an effective date of immediately upon filing with the New York State Department of State or sooner if allowed by law. Complete copies of this proposed introductory law are available for inspection and or reproduction of the office of the town clerk, Town Hall, 1915 Route 4455, Modena, New York, anytime during normal business hours. Additionally, the introductory law is available for inspection on the town of Plattekill's website at https://townofplattekill.ny.us. Now, therefore, pursuant to Section 20 of the Municipal Home Rule Law, the Board of the Town of Plattekill, New York, will hold a public hearing to receive public comment on this introductory law at the Town Hall, 1915 Route 4455, Modena, New York, on October 16th, 2024, at 7 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter can be heard, at which time all persons interested shall be heard. Persons' written comments should be addressed to the office of the town clerk of the town of Plattekill, P.O. Box 45, Modena, New York, 12548, and shall be received prior to or not later than the public hearing. And this is going to be by the order of the town board of the town of Plattekill. So, I will at this time make a motion to open up the public hearing on the tax law levy.
Second motion.
So we have a motion on the floor, and this would be specifically the introductory law number 2 of 2024. So we have a motion on the floor to open public hearing with a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. So at this time, before I go into comments and questions, keep in mind what's been proposed is the ability to go above the 2% tax cap. We did that last year during budgeting, and we've done that in the past. If we do not pass this law, that means that we only can stay within that 2% limit. I would love to do that. I would love to keep it at a flat, no increase in taxes. These aren't the days that we live in, unfortunately. When we received the tentative budget, basically what that is that's a request that's put out to all the department heads in the town, and that is basically a wish list, so to speak, for things that they're required to operate their department for the year. It's also a chance or an opportunity to look at salaries. It's an opportunity to look at requests to make the departments better, whether it be tools, equipment, whatever it is that they need to add to that department to do their job. A mechanic is not going to do a job without their tools, so this is where we acquire the tools. The next thing, there's a contractual, which means that we still have to put the lights on, we still have to have phones, internet service, fuel in the trucks, and the equipment to actually fix the vehicles, plow the roads, and so forth. So this budget was proposed by all the departments, and again, this is strictly a tentative budget. We are already going through and department by department, looking at each department and trying to determine what wants are and what needs are, and travel accordingly, and make sure that we are spending the money as wise as can be. We don't want to collect $2 if it's $1 that's needed. We don't want to collect $2 if it's $1.99 that's needed. So to be totally accurate, it's tough, but that's the job that we do. Our tentative budget is an accumulation of all the budgets of the town. It includes the general fund, the DA highway fund, library, lighting districts, drainage districts, Modena Fire District, Clintondale Fire District, Plattekill Fire District, and then it comes up with a total. Excuse me. When I first looked at this budget, the tentative budget was actually a little bit higher, and we requested the departments to look at it a little bit closer, and the overall is right now at a 16.70% increase. That is a heck of a lot, to say the least, in my book. And that is, I don't want to say it's unrealistic because, again, it's the day and age we live in, but I can tell you this, that each department has met, with the exception of, I believe, 3 departments we have not met with yet. And each department is doing the due diligence to fine-tune and, again, determine what they need, determine what's required, determine what they want. So this 1670, again, is a tentative number. I don't know what the final numbers are going to be, but I can assure you that myself and the rest of the board is going to do the best we possibly can to keep the taxes as low as we possibly can. We're taxpayers also, and we live in the town and want to remain living in the town. So what I will do is I will open it up to public comment. I would like you to, I'm just going to say a number, keep it to 3 minutes, but I would like you to give your name, your address, and out of respect for the amount of people we have, 3 minutes. I'm not going to hold you to that, but if you go on, then we will maybe ask you not to, go so far. But at this time, the floor is yours. So respectfully, just stand up, state your name, raise your hand while calling you, however you want to work. Yes, sir.
Sorry. Just had a knee replacement, so it's not.
I know that feeling.
Okay, basically the reason I came is I found out about this from somebody else. I didn't really know about it, okay? But the thing of it is we're talking about raising taxes. Now, as a senior in this area, no matter what the case may be, and I've talked to many seniors in this area that are actually having to relocate because their taxes are more than the mortgage they used to have.
Understood.
We know, I'm in business also. I know tools cost money, I know this costs money and that costs money. Everybody here, I think, in the past year has suffered a problem with inflation. Okay? I used to go out to dinner twice a week. Now I go out to dinner once a week. Okay? So what I'm trying to get at is I know the needs, but most of the time it's the wants. Mm-hmm. Right now, needs have to be really looked at, especially at this point in time. We have an election coming up, and hopefully the right people get in charge. But to increase our taxes right now, you're going to find more people with for sale signs out of their house.
Understood. Can I just get your name, please?
Thank you very much.
Can I just get your name?
You want your name?
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Al Francis. And you want my address?
Sir?
No.
Just
Your name is fine.
Plattekill is fine.
Okay.
Next? Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Catherine Beinkaffner, 1003, Route 4455, Clintondale. On this page, Town of Plattekill 2025 tentative budget summary and levy and determination.
What page are we looking at?
Now, it looks like it's at page 2, but it's a summary of everything. And down at the bottom, salary of elected officials.
Yes.
So we start with supervisor, town council, town clerk,
Yep.
town justice. And it appears that if it's $47,000 for the combination of the two justices, then their individual salaries would be $23,500.
Yes, I will tell you that we met with the both justices and the Justice Department, and they agreed to take a flat increase and not go to 6%.
6%?
I will tell you the town board is 3%, and we're also taking into consideration even that.
But I think the number's wrong here.
The numbers, again, this is just tentative. We haven't adopted this.
Okay.
This is tentative. This is what was written up first. But again, we've met with those folks, and the numbers are all going to change. The numbers that you see are going to change as we go through each department and we start trimming.
Okay. Fine.
Okay? Next.
Kim
Yes,
Campbell,
ma'am.
1885 Routes 44 and 55 in Modena, New York. I haven't had a raise in, I hate to tell you how many years. I pay my taxes. I'm stretched. I have trimmed my own budget. I suggest you do the same because what you're asking for is exorbitant. We cannot afford it. We aren't getting
I
raises.
totally
We're paying
understand.
everything else that everybody. We aren't getting any 3% raise. We aren't getting a 6% raise.
Right.
We aren't getting any increase in our paycheck. What we do have are extra fees, and this would be an outrageous amount of money. I suggest you don't buy a new town truck or a paver or anything else. And don't tell me that you're gonna. This is just a figure, and we're gonna vote on it tonight. No, I want it in writing, stone cold, exactly what you're talking about. Not we'll vote on it tonight and we'll tell you later.
I don't understand what you specifically mean about running on it tonight.
You said that it would be put forward tonight after the town meeting, the new law. No, that
Do
doesn't
you understand,
apply.
ma'am, do you understand what the new law is?
Yes, actually I do.
Okay.
You're going to override what the state has decreed.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. You're going to add more money to your own pockets in this town. I suggest this pocket learn how to budget itself because you're not.
Ma'am, I will tell you, and I will give you my commitment that I will forego any raise. Myself, personally, I will speak for myself. I will forego any raise. But to understand what that tax cap is at 2%.
Yes,
If
sir.
you do not pass a
Absolutely,
local
and that's
law,
way more than what we can afford
Ma'am.
as it is. We
Ma'am.
are facing, 17% increase across the board on
so
fuel and
let
everything
me.
else?
Okay, I'll take that into consideration. Okay, ma'am.
Can I ask you about the
Please, I can't hear.
Can I ask you about the library?
Yeah.
Okay,
And I want to also know about why the Plattekill Firehouse needs so much money.
so I have to tell you this. The only thing that I can speak on, is the town of Plattekill's tentative budget.
Okay.
And what's included in the town of Plattekill's tentative budget that we actually work on budget-wise is going to be your top line. If you want to put a check on it, I'll let you know. The top line which is the A general fund,
Okay.
okay, the DA highway fund,
Okay.
the lighting district.
What is a lighting district?
The lighting
What do you mean
district
by
is the
that?
lights that are actually on the poles as we go down the road. You're going to see them in Modena and Clintondale. Plattekill has a couple of them, but they're also considered Modenas.
Handles.
Okay, drainage districts. And that is it. We have no say at all, or no decision other than going to the library and talking to the library and asking them, please not raise the taxes. They do their own budget. The reason why this is on here is because the town effectively is the tax collectors for the library district. When we look down to the Modena Fire District, the Clintondale Fire District, and the Plattekill Fire District, each respective district has their own budget. So again, the Board of Fire Commissioners establishes the budget. They do their due diligence, whatever that is, their process. You also have the opportunity to go to their budget meetings as well and understand what they're doing and
So
what they do.
That money that they receive,
Yes.
that comes from where?
We collect that. Each
the
fire
taxpayers?
district, yes, Modena Fire District has an area that they cover. So they tax the Modena Fire District accordingly to the Modena Fire District needs.
Okay.
When Plattekill, they cover their area, they do the same thing. They establish a budget that's determined by the district and the needs that Plattekill covers. And the same thing with Clintondale. The only thing that we do with that, and the reason why it comes underneath these lines, it comes under here because we are the tax collectors for it. When you write a check for your taxes in September, that's your school taxes.
Right.
When you write your taxes at the end of the year, that goes to the town, and the town distributes that money. That money goes to the town, it goes to the fire departments, it goes to the library, and the portions go to the county. That's all covered under our general fund and the highway fund. So, respectfully, I totally understand it. I mean, I do not feel like the board is sitting up here not knowing and feeling exactly what you
Right.
folks are saying. And I don't want to get into an argument and a
We're
titter-tape
spending
back
all
and
this money on a
forth.
playground.
So I am very glad that you brought that up, ma'am. So the playground that's down there at the new park, the brand new playground was put up and paid for entirely by first a grant that was received through Ulster County,
It could have
and
been
the rest
spelled out.
and the rest was wasn't financed, was paid for and is being paid for through ARPA funds. ARPA funds, I guess it's the American Rescue Plan Act, with the money that they sent to all the municipalities. That is money, I hate to say this, and people might get offended or not understand when I say this, but I pray to God we never get those funds again. That came from a time where COVID, we were locked up, the federal government was putting out the money, and there's only certain things that we can spend that on. That money, we have to spend that money and earmark that money by a certain date, or we lose that money. It's my how would I say? It's my basically plan not to send a penny back to the federal government. They gave it to us, and guess what? We're expanding the park, which it hasn't been expanded in, 35, 36 years. We had the opportunity, so that's where we saw where everybody can actually touch that money. We cannot use that money to offset payroll. We can't use that money to balance the budget.
Library.
There's certain parameters that we have to use it on. It has nothing to do with the library. It's the town. So the park, whatever you see going on at the park is not being funded by any line item here saying, wait a minute, we're taxing you on this. So it's covered. This is specifically for what it says on here. So I apologize. Somebody else had a question over here. I was talking. Yeah, but are you done?
I think I'm done. But you know what? What I don't understand is when I guess like the library, I'm hearing like they have their own vote.
Yeah.
They vote. Most people, I guess, we're busy people. We have kids, we're running here and there. Nobody knows what they're voting on.
Mm-hmm.
I would think the library's voting, they're voting on buying new books. What do I know?
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm saying to you is, I think in general, I think there's some level of maybe more transparency or more, I guess, communication with the taxpayers that when these votes are happening, that we all should be part of it and know exactly what's going on. And I don't really think we will feel that way. I don't know if you. I don't think we will feel that way.
I'm going to have to guess that the largest portion of you folks are here because you heard about it through social media, or
Right.
possibly your neighbors heard it on social
Yes.
media and
Yeah,
gave you a call. So this is on the website. Unfortunately, in the day and age we live in, people look at Facebook before they look at the website to get their information, or they depend on their neighbors. So, funny enough, I had a gentleman come to me, and he wanted to put up he wanted the town to put up electronic signs at the transfer station, at the corners of the intersections with 3 or more roads, and he wanted these signs put up. And I said, well, how would we pay for those signs? Well, put them up. We got the money. The reality is, it's kind of the yin and yang. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, and there's no such thing as a free lunch. So things cost money. I totally understand and respect the fact that in this day and age, look, I'm a big guy. I like to eat. I go to the store, and it's like, holy cow, the prices of food. I'm putting stuff down. I know that. I'm living the same thing you folks are living as well. I get that. I understand it. This again is a tentative budget, and the only thing I can tell you is we give our commitment. It's our job. It's our obligation, and it's what we took our oath of office for, is to do this the best way we can, determine what makes the town run. But I'm going to tell you, if there's a truck that needs to be bought to plow snow, I'm not going to not purchase that truck. If there's an employee that needs to be added to the payroll, or there's an employee who's going to go to another municipality or another job because they can't afford to make ends meet here, I'm going to tell you, it's pretty silly when you're sitting here with 3 employees and you've got a town, a municipality, a government center that has to run. You need the people to stay here. You need the people to not want to look other places. I know, bottom line, you have to feed your family. I'm not saying we're not making anybody rich by giving raises. We're not making anybody rich by the benefits. We're keeping good quality people here that do good quality work. I'm going to tell you, I came into this seat January 1st, and I cannot tell you one person, and I won't even say names. If I did, I would tell you, I do not know one person that has not busted their butt to work their butts off in this building, the highway department, our transfer station, and every place through town that's trying to do the right thing to make things better. I'm going to tell you, and me personally, I try to get as much as I can from everybody. I want to get the best I can from everybody. I'm an elected official. I'm temporary. These folks are here. This is their existence. The folks that work here are the people that are sitting right here in the audience now. They have the same wants, the same desires, the same needs, and the same issues going on in their lives. I don't know anybody who doesn't. I really don't. Some people I hear say, "Oh, we don't have a problem. It's better than it's been." Well, it's not better than it's been. We're in tough times. I totally get it and understand it. Again, we have to give the tools. We have to give the product to be able to do the job to sustain what's going on in the town. I don't think anybody is overspending per se. Again, each department during a tentative budget, it's a wish list. It's not going to be the budget we adopt. I'm looking at this at 16.70%. I don't know what the number is going to be, but my anticipation is going to be a lot less of a raise, a hike in our taxes. But again, the 2% tax cap, if we don't pass that law, and we have passed it in the past, other municipalities do it, it's not anything that's not there to do. If we don't pass that, then it's mandatory we stay within that 2% tax cap. And I challenge anybody to come into my office and tell me, I'll do one-on-one, I'll spend as much time, no matter what day of the week, time of the night, you tell me what we can cut and who we can let go and what we don't need and make the town run the way it's supposed to run. There's no frills in this. There is no frills. So, again, it's a tough situation. We totally get it. Hold on, this gentleman here.
Team Bob Mabey, Hull Avenue.
How are you, Bob?
First I'm going to voice the opinion that why did I have to read about this on the wall at Stewart's? Why wasn't it, which was already addressed, you already answered it.
Yeah.
Second of all, I don't mind you having an unlimited cap on our budget, but I'm a senior citizen. I've got a well. I've got a septic. We have no municipal sewer. We have no town water. We're paying these big taxes, and I can't even get my leaves picked up in the spring. There's got to be some accountability for this money. We got a library. In your words, it's the time to live in. Sure, they read books on the internet now. There's no need for a library.
Right. Yep. Right.
Again, I can't speak on the library. That's a complete separate animal.
It's the times we live in.
I totally understand it, but that's a complete separate animal. The library, we have no control control over. They do their own budget.
But we do have, we gotta put a cap on this someplace. I mean, to give you an unlimited cap on this stuff.
It's not an unlimited cap. I mean, I don't want you or anybody to be under the impression that we pass this law that we go above the 2% tax cap. What does that mean? Does that mean 2.1? Does that mean 8.1? I don't know what that number is. I don't know what it is, but I can assure you that at 16.70, that was the tentative budget. That was the wish list. I can assure you that it's quite a bit lower than there. We had a 4-hour meeting last night with one of the departments, and it was 4 hours. And I have to tell you, I have a lot of respect for the department. We made a lot of cuts, and rightfully so. Again, you determine the wants and the needs. And some of the things that we feel we need, some of the things we looked at realistically, and we said, hey, let's put it off. Let's research it a little bit further and put it down the road. But again, we cannot kick the can down the road, and the revenues are not there like they used to be. And we can't artificially inflate the revenues. You know, we could do that. We could turn around and say, we're going to get X amount from the taxes. We're going to get X amount from here, X amount from there. I will tell you that early on, the anticipation was, in the economy that we live in, that the cost and the increases in taxes were going to be off the hook. And I don't know, again, if you followed the newspapers, if you followed the internet, if you looked on the website, what we did as a board is we looked realistically at a lot of the fees that were in the town, a lot of the fees. And a lot of the fees were outdated, 2009, 2010. They were much better times than today. And we increased those fees. I will tell you this, October 1st, we increased the fees at the transfer station. So now guess what? You go to the transfer station, there's another legitimate gripe that, holy cow, I was paying X amount to dump my garbage. Now it's another level. And guess what? Those numbers were kind of similar, but actually less than a lot of the local municipalities around us. And the anticipation of keeping those down, the anticipation was we did not want to see couches on the side of the road. We didn't want to see garbage on the side of the road. Unfortunately, there's a lot of places already in town that are like that. And there's a lot of folks, I'm going to say, that voluntarily go out on their own, that we don't ask, that you'll drive by, you'll see a couch. 2 days later, 3 days later, you see the couch. A week later, you may see that couch. But guess what? It's folks like in this room that stop and pick it up on their own when we can't get people to do it. So that's much appreciated. So again, that's a real issue. We still want to make it affordable, but I will tell you that the increase for UCRA, for dumping our dumpsters up there at the transfer station, has increased incredible. And it doesn't come down. They don't say, hey, guess what? We're going to cut that in half because we had a good month 2 months ago. No. They're fighting the same battle. They have budgets to meet. They have things and obligations to do, and we're trying to do our best to keep them down.
I'm just saying, I see your point, but I'd like to see something in return for the money that we are paying. Like, just come back him up the lead like all the other towns around here do.
Well, okay, so let's just say that. Back them up the leaves. So we're going to send a truck out. Okay, we're going to send men out. They're going to spend time. For every hour that they're there, they're going to lose 2 hours that they should have been over here. And the next thing you know, we're fighting that fight again.
What happens when it snows, Dean? You send a truck out, you send 2 men out.
Mm-hmm. Well, 1 man per truck. And I have to tell you that sometimes those guys work 35 hours straight.
I don't mind paying these taxes, but I want to see something in return. I'm on a fixed income.
Understood.
How long can we afford to keep these up?
Mm-hmm. We can't. Understood.
What percentage of this town is on fixed income?
I would say a very large percentage.
Where's the money come from? It ain't growing on the trees.
And how much are you going to drive out by raising taxes? And I'm not talking property owners, I'm talking business. Mm-hmm. You don't have much as it is. You raise your taxes on them, they're going to leave because they can't afford it.
Understood. Totally understood.
Well, also, on another note, it's like the library. When theirs went up, What was the voter turnout? It was really sad. Was it like 67 people, I believe?
Yes.
Did we know?
If that. I was just going to say,
I mean, I see it from the sign that they have
Don't say
posted
that.
in the
They got a
library.
sign right out front, and nothing gets posted on it except town meeting.
I mean,
So
let's be real.
wait a minute. Stop. I'll give you your chance. Just stop
I
it.
found out. That's why I'm late. I just heard about it.
So-
you guys don't let anybody know anywhere this stuff is going on.
right.
That's not right. You guys are pulling a quick.
When you're
Just
all
like
done,
a school
and you
meeting,
allow me to
budget
talk,
with that.
I will talk.
All right, go ahead. But I'm telling you, you set up something to be 500 people here.
Okay.
If people knew,
So
people don't know.
let me say this. I respect the fact that you have your opinion, but you did come in late and we are having a dialogue with everybody. So please relax and you'll get your turn. When we talk about, and I will get to you, Mr. Fowler. When we talk about, we never heard this, we don't see this, we don't know this. Look, the reality is, some of us are working 2 and 3 jobs. Some of us have family obligations. Some of us are single-family homes. Some of us just don't have a minute to breathe. The reality is we don't look at all the signs around. We don't read the paper. We don't get on the internet. We don't do the social media. We don't put ourselves in a position unless maybe we go by the bulletin board in stores and we see an ad for something up there. What ends up happening, I'll get to you in a moment. What ends up happening is we get outraged because we didn't hear anything. We don't know, and it seems to be secretive. The reality is there's obligations to the town, that the municipalities, the government, that we have to advertise. We establish our local newspaper. Our local newspaper is the Southern Ulster Times. It is posted in the Southern Ulster Times. We have a website that was completely redone this spring. It is posted on the website. We have a Facebook page. We have everything. I'm going to tell you, our mailings this year, our mailings are, I believe, don't quote me exactly, but it's over $700 over our budget for mailings. That is just for the day-to-day operations in here. So we have the opportunity to have an established place to get our information from. And there's many different Facebook pages as well, and I'm not saying that we rely on them because we don't. Those are private Facebook pages that advertise and advocate to come on down. You folks admittedly are here because either somebody told you, you saw it on Facebook, you heard about it. How far can we go? Back to the gentleman I spoke about earlier with the signs. He wanted to put up all these signs. If those signs are $5,000 a piece and we put them up, and I know they're going to be far more than $5,000, the initial cost of them, how much to run them, how much to monitor, everything comes at a cost. So we do what we have to do, and we try to go above and beyond so everybody does know. So for anybody to think that it's smoke and mirrors or somebody is trying to hide something, I'm sorry, that's not the way it is. You can feel the way you feel, but it is not the way it is. So, Mr.
One
Fowler.
simple question.
Hold 1 minute. Mr. Fowler, he raised his hand earlier.
Hi, Mike Fowler, Movina. I saw on Facebook that there's a big proposed increase with the police budget.
Yes.
And my question is, has anybody talked to Sheriff Figueroa to see if there's any interest in handing off that workload from the town to the county and incorporating it into his road patrol? And that's a question. The thing that concerns me is I saw a posting on Facebook about a police car going to Albany every day. What is that about?
Okay. So the Facebook post that you saw, was that Town of Plattekill Facebook?
I remember where it's.
Okay.
No, I don't think it was Town of Plattekill. It might have been Plattekill Rising.
So let me tell you this. Start by saying the police department's budget, that did go up quite a bit, and that was again tentative. We spent 4 hours last night with that budget, and we trimmed that budget way down. Again, as far as the question that you had, has anybody talked to the Sheriff's Department or Sheriff Figueroa specifically? I have not. I can't speak for the rest of the board, but collectively as a board, we have not spoken to him about that.
Doesn't it seem like it's a duplication of services to have another police agency? We have the state police, the county sheriff, DEP, DEC. It seems like, that's my personal opinion. And it's a big portion of the budget.
Understood. You know, and I will tell you that when I look down at Plattekill Fire District, you know, the increase, when again, we have no say in that, the increase, I don't know if anybody knows what that justification for that increase is. To me, again, it's the day and times that we live. They want to start an EMS service down there that's more, I don't want to say effective because all of them are effective, but it's more readily available. So that's where the increase is there. So there's definitely things that we need. And I will tell you this, that, somebody said this to me, and I really wholeheartedly believe this. We have a part-time police department in Plattekill. I'm going to tell you something. When somebody needs the police, they call 911. I myself would not look at the police department and say, it's a part-time police department. I'm not going to say, well, it's going to cost the town, send this one, send that one. If I call 911, I want the whole cavalry coming. And I don't only want the police coming, I want the fire, I want the EMS, I want everything coming. So, again,
I
it is...
understand that, Dean, but I'm not as active in the fire department as I used to be. But when I go to a call, there's a state police car there, a sheriff's car there, and a town car there. It seems like redundancy of services.
Understood. It's something, quite honestly, that we could look into.
Thank you.
All set? 1 second. There was a gentleman back here.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but we're all here basically for a reason.
Yeah.
I'd like to have a copy of what I'm seeing.
It's right on the desk.
There's no more. There's no more.
We will get
That's
to
number one. Okay.
Before you
Number
leave,
two is there's a way to basically take care of that issue. You do send out a tax bill every year. Am I correct in saying so?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
You do send out a tax bill every year.
Yes, and that's what we're talking about here.
Well, you can send this out with it. You know what I mean? This way here, instead of hearing it from somebody else.
We're not hearing it.
So this budget here and your tax bill, when your tax bill comes, there's line items on your tax bill to show you what you are actually paying for. If you want a copy of this, you can get it right from the town clerk's office. And again, if there's not enough there before you leave, we can make copies for you. We can definitely give that for you.
That's good.
Yeah. Mr. Limbo.
Michael Limbo. I'm just curious, without mentioning names, why that police car is being used to go to Albany. Because of what happened last year when the police started going down New Jersey and getting in an accident. I mean, if this is for another job, why is the person using his personal car instead of using a town vehicle?
Mm-hmm. So I will tell you that that's an internal problem that is being addressed. I'm not going to speak any more onto that. But the issue that happened last year, that no longer will happen either. That individual has actually retired, and that is all being looked at. But that's an internal issue. Ms. Molson?
Yes, I'm just curious. To me, it's not my job to find out when you're having these meetings. It's the job of the town to let us people know, because I believe if more of us knew, more of us would be here. So there's something wrong in how you're letting us know. I know there's computers and all this stuff, but whatever you're doing is not working. You know what I'm saying? So more people would be here, and where people would be able to voice their opinion.
Understood.
You know what I'm saying?
Understood.
So it's not our job to do it. It's your job.
Well, it also goes back to if we do that. So just say hypothetically, what would you say? Just let's say hypothetically mail-outs. We're going to do mail-outs. So we're going to send everybody quarterly. We're going to send mail-outs, and we are going to notify everybody. That comes at an extreme cost. I will tell you this, in the past, we had our publicists used to print up our quarterly flyers, and we'd put them out, and basically what's happening in the town is what it was. It was nice. I couldn't wait for it to show up at one of the stores, the local stores, and go grab it. Inevitably, when we had a budget that we worked off, inevitably, when I went to get that, I very rarely got that because everybody had the same idea and they were grabbed very quickly. With the invention of the internet, again, that is why folks are out. That's why we hear the information. It's how much money do you want to spend on that? Do we want to put another line item in the budget and say we're going to mail 5 times a year, 6 times a year, that comes at a cost as well. We try to do it the best, most effective way.
But that's the way it is. It's not effective because there's nobody here. And there would be so many more people here to voice their opinion. And we're not getting the chance to do that.
So I will say this, and honestly, I really do love the fact that there's a lot of folks here tonight.
This is not a lot compared to
This is a lot of people, and I'm going to tell you, I have been coming to these town board meetings since 1980, quite a long time, and I don't think I've missed over these years. I don't think I've missed a whole lot of meetings. I've sat on the board since 2013, and I have been to every single meeting with the exception, I believe, of 2. I had knee replacement surgery 2 years in a row, and I came here a week and a half to 2 weeks after my knee replacement and sat at the board. So I've come. My point is, over the years that I've come here, there is very rarely more than 4 or 5 folks that sit in the audience. It's the same folks sitting in the audience. It's almost historically the same questions in the audience. And we get other people come in every now and then when there's an issue that's going on. But for the most part, life gets in the way. And like I alluded to earlier, there's a lot of people, and honestly, myself included, that have 2 and 3 jobs. I'm retired, yet I have 2 jobs. So life gets in the way. It's at some point, I think we have to take our responsibility for ourselves and find out the information, and we have to commit and come to the meetings. And public input is the best.
We've been here.
Some of these meetings are more important than others, and
100%.
especially when you start talking taxes.
Yeah.
That affects everybody.
And it's something.
That is a meeting that should be out there no matter what.
Right.
If you have to add it in the budget for that, just taxes alone, I'd say, yeah, add it in the
So every year, and I totally respect what you're saying, but every year, tax time comes at the same time every year. September, October, November. Every single year. It doesn't change. It's been the same.
But we've been out
For a
here
long
since
time.
1982. This is the first time in over 40 years that I've heard of this meeting. First time.
But your tax bill still arrives at your house for 42 years.
Right.
Where
Because
does
they
it
want
come-
their money.
where does it
But
come
I need
from?
the information
Yeah.
about that to be able to come here and voice my opinion. And if I don't have that information, I can't voice it. None of us can. And the second thing that bothers me is, well, a lot of us are on limited incomes. If we get $20 or $10 at the end of the year on our Social Security, that's a lot. To me, it takes a lot of nerve to ask for 16 point something when people that are on limited income don't have. And I don't care what the situation is on that end. That's not my concern. That's your concern. My concern is feeding my kids, keeping a roof over my head, taking care of myself, paying my medical. Just like you have problems here, we have it here too. That's something you don't take into consideration. 16 something is outrageous. I don't know why everybody's not in an uproar.
I have to disagree with you. I think the board lives in the same world you do.
No,
We have-
because you wouldn't be asking that kind of money.
I disagree.
And mostly from people
I disagree.
who don't have it. Anybody here like paying 16 point something?
Nope.
Does anybody care
No.
for it? Speak up.
I don't think there's anybody that
Right.
really wants to
And
pay.
it's on
Not
your
one.
end that you got to
Can't.
find the loopholes, like the car going to New Jersey, not after the fact, before the fact. There's many hidden agendas. There's many hidden things that it's the job of you guys to find out before, not after the accident.
Understood.
You know, so a lot of it falls on you guys because we're here. We know nothing. All we know is you want more money, and I, for one, don't want to give it to you. I don't care if the Pope is here. I don't want to give it.
You may not realize it, you may not believe it. We feel the same way.
If you
Again.
felt the same way, you wouldn't have the nerve to come out here and ask for 16 point something.
So again, like I started off with, again, this is the tentative budget. Our hopes is that we can cut this way back. Tonight, the anticipation is to pass that 2% tax cap so we can go above that 2% tax cap. And what that is, if it's 2.1, if it's 3.6, I don't know what the numbers are. I can't tell you what the
Well,
numbers
how
are
do
yet.
we know what the numbers are?
When we're done doing the budget and we do the preliminary budget, then you're going to know.
We should have that right now. On it, then you just do it.
You keep coming to these meetings and voice your concerns the same way you're doing.
So there's more meetings after this.
We have a meeting on the first and third Wednesday of the month.
Guys, if you stop talking back there, we can hear what's going on because we're all that talk back there. It's making it very difficult to hear other people's comments.
Yeah, please. I'll get you, man. Thank you. Please, Laura. Thank you. So, every first and third Wednesday of the month is a town board meeting.
About this in particular.
There's a town board meeting every first and third
But it's
Wednesday
about
of the
the
month.
taxes itself.
The taxes from now through November, when we finally adopt the taxes, I encourage you to come.
Oh, I will,
Every
now that I
single
know.
meeting. It's been that way forever, the first
But I
and third
didn't know.
Wednesday.
That's what I'm saying. The
All right.
information is not there, and it's the responsibility of you guys to make sure us are knowledgeable about what's going on. I'm stupid. I don't know anything unless you tell me. And if you don't tell me, I don't know.
Well, I don't think you're stupid or anybody's stupid. I think it's just we request and want the information. So I will try to do my best. If I have to reach out to you personally to remind you, I will.
Thank you. And remember, 3%, I get like $20 on my Social Security check.
Totally understand.
You know what I'm saying? I don't have another job like you. You said you have 2-3 jobs. I work them. I'm too old now. And I can't start now, and I don't want to lose my home because of stupidity on another end.
Or agree. Okay.
Well, hold on one second. Last year, what our budget looked like, and we got it down to, yes, it went up a little, but it didn't put anybody out of their house.
How do you know? How do you know? How do you know? You don't know them personally.
Because most houses, if you had a house that was about $200,000, $220,000, your taxes went up about $80 a year. The town tax, not school tax. We don't control the school tax. There's nothing we can do about that.
But sometimes that little bit of money puts a person on a limited income where they have less food, less medicine, and they can't care for themselves. They can't pay for their lights. That's the whole picture. You're just looking at your picture. There's a picture on this end.
Well, no, I'm in the same boat. I'm retired. My Social Security raise 2.5, is it 2.5, 2.6. So I know what you're paying, and I know what you're getting.
I have a question.
I'll come back to you.
Okay.
Ma'am, I'll get you next time.
I have 2 points, if I may. My first question is, you keep referring to the 16%, but doesn't the 2% tax limit apply to each of those lines on that overview?
It's in its entirety 2%. So all of these factors, when you look at all these things, we're not going to go line by line like the A General Fund. We're not going to stay within a 2% tax cap. That's not how it works. It's the entire accumulation of the budget. So we try to stay within that 2% tax cap.
But if like you said, the library, the fire departments, and whatever are not under your purview, how can...
So, good point. I'm glad that you brought that up. And not that it makes it any easier or understandable, but it's a little bit confusing. So, keep in mind, all of this is cumulative. Ma'am, you can put your arm down. I won't forget you.
I'm fine with my arm up because, one
So
day we'll get there.
overall, the percentage is 16.70. But keep in mind, again, we have nothing to do with the Modena, Clintondale, or Plattekill Fire District. So if you reside in Modena, your taxes are not going to be at the 16.70 rate. It's going to be different. I don't know what it is. I don't have that number in front of me. But it will be a lot less than that. This is just the tentative budget again. And the same thing with Clintondale and the same thing with Plattekill.
Right. But the 2%, like the general fund, is up at 38%. I know you said it's tentative. But that the 2% applies to that. So in other words, it's gone over 36%.
The whole
like
yes,
like the highway department is at 2.99%. So it's gone up 0.99%, or it's over. So that's
But
what I'm trying to
the 2%
clarify.
The 2% doesn't apply to each line item. It applies cumulatively. So just say, for example, like the general fund. The general fund this last year, I believe the insurance, just the insurance for the employees went up 11%. So when you look at that insurance going up 11%, that's a number that we cannot say, okay, New York State,
No, that's not what I'm asking.
we have to keep it down. So cumulative, that 16.70 includes the 3 fire departments as a whole. So we're looking at this as a whole. When we look at it, it's 2% overall. So if you're in the Modena Fire District, Clintondale and Plattekill will not be part of your taxes.
Right.
So the numbers are going to be different. It's kind of confusing the way that it's laid out. I get what you're saying, but it is very confusing.
Well,
I
anyway.
wish we could break it down and say, if you live in the Modena Fire District, it's X amount of dollars.
I mean, when it comes right down to it, each line should not be going over 2%. That's when it comes right down to it. But anyway, my other question was, because I've been sitting in on the budget meetings, and you talked about how you're really working on needs and not wants. But in one of the discussions, I heard you mention, there was a discussion about buying $60,000 in new filing cabinets just so that they would match.
To clarify that, and I think I explained it during that meeting as well, and if I didn't, I apologize for not explaining it accurately. If you look in this building and you go around, you see these cabinets that are right here? These cabinets belong to the Justice Court. It's my understanding that a lot of these cabinets that are in here have material that is not supposed to be here. It's supposed to be in a vault, locked up. If you walk into each one of these offices, which I invite you to come and I'll take you for a walk.
No, I don't need to see
We
it.
go into each room here. You have an unbelievable amount of different size filing cabinets, different shape filing cabinets, different age filing cabinets that have no ability to hang folders in. If you walk in each room, you're going to see boxes of records that really should be locked up and put into a vault. My office, if you walk into my office afterwards, I'd be glad to let you walk in there. You're going to see Justice Court
Not to cut
records.
you
Let me
off,
finish.
but-
You asked me a question. Let me finish. You walk in there, there's Justice Court records from 1972.
But you're not answering my question.
It was not ever said that there was $60,000 in filing cabinets.
Yes.
What I did is I went around to everybody in the building and I said, give me an idea on what you would like to see. I would like to see front filing cabinets. They take up a lot less space, they hold a lot more material, and they're all the same. So instead of having these file cabinets, we may have the opportunity to have them behind the wall.
But these filing cabinets work just fine. Why?
That's not the point.
But wait a second. You were talking about building a new town hall. Why would we spend $60,000 of our tax money on new filing cabinets when we're going to develop this new place, and who knows what we might need then? It doesn't make any sense. And to me, that's not fiscally responsible.
So if you allow me to explain, the question was not $60,000. We were looking at the possibilities of spending $900 a piece for filing cabinets through Courtcraft. Courtcraft is a state agency that sells their material produced in New York State for New York State. The $900 anticipation on each cabinet was not a full $900 because you're buying more than one. Those filing cabinets, whether you get them through Courtcraft or on state contract, I have been looking for grants to do that. I did not say, nor did I ever intend or suggest that they were going to be added as a wish to have filing cabinets. $60,000 was not the number. The number was, I said, hypothetically, if we spend $30,000, one individual said 60, but that was not accurate. excuse me, was not accurate, and I explained it that night. Again, what I did is I went to each department and I said, look, I want you to look at how you store your records. I want you to look at what would make the most sense. Right now, we are also doing a building assessment on the town hall and a building assessment on the highway department. Both of the buildings were built in 1973. Pole barns, the foundations are rotting, and what it is we hired an engineering firm. We went out to an RFQ, request for a quote. We hired Tinkleman and Associates out of Dutchess County to come in and do an assessment on the buildings, give us an evaluation on whether it was cost effective to look into rebuilding or replacing. We also hired a survey company to survey both this property and the property along Route 32 down by the park, the large field in the front. That study was approved. That study was put forth, and that study is paid for through ARPA funds. So again, you're not going to see that where we're saying, hey folks, you got to pay this money because this is what we'd like to have. No, it was a well thought out plan. Once again, we are not going to get the ARPA funds and they have to be spent. And we saw it as an opportunity to not burden the taxpayer, to do the study, to say, this is what we need in the future. It's a 3 to 5 year plan. The board has done their due diligence and has looked at it specifically as a futuristic plan. And the idea was we would have our plans, everything would be written, everything would be able to be laid out to the future politicians and say, hey, Senator so-and-so, we need money to build this building, and we'll let you cut that ribbon opening day. So that's what we did. Rather than wait until later on down the road when we didn't have that money and no way to do it, this building should have been taken care of before 2013.
Well, that's
we put a foam roof on this building in 2013.
I would like to speak.
That was temporary. I'll give you your opportunity.
You received $1.4 million. Is that correct in ARPA money?
It was $1,043,000.
$1,040,000. Okay, so it was over $1 million.
Yep.
And how was that money spent?
I can't speak for the administration in 2019 when they got it. I was on the board, but we did not utilize it for anything other than what was called premium pay. So I believe it was $73,000 or $79,000. It was approximately that number that was given to the employees that worked through COVID during that time when nobody else could go out of the building on the road.
That has nothing to do with
if I may, you asked me a question, and I'm sorry if it's long, but it is the answer. Again, we are utilizing the money right now to expand the park. We're working on that part to do that. We're looking at ways to utilize that money, if we could do it legally, to offset some of the needs that are in our budget. We don't know what they look at like right yet. Again, this is a tentative budget, but as we go through it, our hopes and anticipation is if we can convert some of that money to purchase maybe some of the equipment that's needed without having to burden the taxpayers more in our community, we're going to do that. So expanding the park.
Well, if you expanded the park, why is it that you didn't ask the people of the town what they would like in the park instead of putting in those items? I don't understand that.
So we took out the playground that was not ADA compliant. That was also in disrepair, and we were finding it hard. I had been told over the years to find replacement parts for the ones that broke.
But it won't be ADA compliant because it's got mulch.
So the mulch that's put in there right now is ADA compliant. It's sterilized mulch. There's two types of mulch, and I don't know what the numbers are or the acronyms. But
a wheelchair, anything like that cannot.
No, I totally get that. But ADA compliant may not mean that everything is going to be concrete and blacktop.
Which is the difference.
Yeah. Understood. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if anybody has had the chance to go down to the park, but the park is coming along very well. Wait a minute. I will get to you. Go ahead. Well, go ahead, and then I'll get you next, man.
Okay, I want to go back, and maybe I misunderstood you about the judges. We have two of them, correct?
Yes.
That service.
Yeah.
So your budget is to give them a 6% raise, or they're asking for a 6% raise?
No. What we have to do is we can't really take any seat that's union and talk about any kind of a raise. It has to go up to 2024 budget because they're in negotiations right now. We're negotiating with the police union. We're negotiating with the general union, which covers the town hall, and we are in negotiations right now with the union. Very first time the highway department has ever had a union. So there's certain positions that we can that are non-union give raises.
Okay, because my point is, it's they're here one night a week, 2 nights a week. It's practically
that's the way it seems. No.
Right, but my point is, I know some of them are either retired troopers, they're lawyers. They have a very good income coming on the other side, and now you want to give them a 6% raise, and they're almost making $30,000 now. So instead of maybe a 6%,
I don't know what the number is, but I think it was.
Well, I think you said like 24 something, right?
I think it was 21 or 22,000.
So
yeah.
It's just a suggestion. If we cut areas and we're having problems getting information, and instead of giving that 6%, you cut it less, but then take the money that you save from giving them a raise, go out and purchase a digital sign and put it out front. So now when there's every meeting, you type everything that needs to be said. There's your lighted sign telling everybody what's going on. And it's gonna help Bob say, hey, wow, my tax monies are going to work. Look, now they got a sign out there, and meeting Monday night. It's about taxes. It's about this. It's about that.
100%. We have a sign out there right now.
Right, but I'm talking. So that sign's been there what? How many years?
It doesn't tell you anything.
Yeah. And it never said
they'll say meeting on there, but my point is, like what they're all saying is that to inform everybody, because a lot of people travel this road. Yeah. And instead of, and I'm getting no personal effect against them, but I can't understand how they got a part-time job getting $30,000. It just doesn't make sense. I want that job too.
Well, it's not $30,000.
Well, it's close to it. I'm rounding it off. I would say 25.
Quite honestly, all these jobs seem to be they're part-time jobs. Well, I will tell you that almost every one of these jobs, people are putting in a hell of a lot more hours.
Absolutely, and I understand that, but it just seems a little much for 6% raise, where you could cut it back to maybe 2 or 3.
I'll tell you right now that the judges did not take the 6%.
Right? No, I'm not saying they did. I'm just making a point where when you go to talk about this budget, that might be something you can cut and say, now, hey, guess what? Now we can put a newer sign out there. People in this town can be informed. It's actually using the money in a way that's positive, and now everybody can see it. And it'll alleviate the problem. Well, I didn't know about this meeting. And I'm not saying they don't deserve to get a raise. Everybody deserves to get a raise, but in these times right now,
I get what you're saying.
Everybody's difficult.
I get what you're saying, but I also have to say that their personal business about their financial situations outside of here is really not my business.
Oh, it's not, but I'm knowledgeable. I know a lot of people that were judges, and I know they either retired state troopers or lawyers. They make decent money, triple digits.
Well, again.
So here you are coming here, and again, not trying to be disrespectful, but you're working a couple nights a week and you're getting paid $30,000 a year. I want that job too.
Well, actually, not for nothing, Anthony. Those 2 judges, they get called in all times.
Oh, no. I perfectly understand it. That is part of the job.
Yeah.
7 days.
That's just part of the job. A lot of guys in here work for the state. We understand. You get called in, you get called in. I get it. That's part of it. My point is, instead of sitting there saying, okay, well, we're going to negotiate and you want 6%. Well, you know what? No, we're going to give you 3.
Right.
And then to take the money that you saved and then put it into the town as something positive that's going to alleviate a communication problem, which obviously there is, and again would help the town itself and the people.
It's called budgeting.
Just
that's what we're doing.
Just a point.
I'll get to you. Hang on, man.
Okay, you keep mentioning that you're reviewing the budget, you're trimming this, you're trimming that, but you don't make any numbers. You just leave it vague and hanging.
I cannot, until we put all the numbers together,
well, then that
give you numbers on the preliminary budget. All I can do is encourage you to keep coming.
You're interrupting now.
Go ahead.
Before you ask for this percentage that you're asking for to override the 2% cap that the state has issued, you should already have those numbers, and that they should be printed over there for us to look at before you do any of this.
Right.
You should have been doing this beforehand in all of your other meetings.
That's true.
Yes, I know, right?
May I answer that?
Absolutely, rock on.
That is not the law. That's not how it works. The tentative budget comes out. It's prescriptive in the law, in the town law. We have to
That's
follow.
the way you're
and there's-
writing the town
And there
law.
is, the New York State sets that and makes those laws. We do not. New York State says that we have to have that meeting. We have to announce that meeting by a certain date. Prior, and we have to have that public hearing and pass the law by a certain date. Tonight is the night.
No, then it's a no. It's a hard no.
She's been waiting on that corner for a while.
I'll get you that.
How many people live in the town?
About 10,500.
And how many people we got at this meeting? About 40. I counted them, about 40. We got a problem with communication. We got a definite problem. When you got 10,000 people living in a town, only 40 people show up for a tax meeting, we got a serious problem with communication.
I cannot speak for everybody. They have the same opportunity that you guys have, the same opportunity we have. We advertise it where we're obligated to advertise it. We try to go above and beyond and get it out there. I understand it's echoing throughout the room that our communication should be much better. So don't think for a minute that we're going to leave here and say, no, because honestly, I don't want to see this again. But this is no disrespect to anybody. This is the same thing that happens every year. And unfortunately, like I said earlier, life gets in the way. And we tend to not look at it until it directly hits us. I encourage everybody to come that first Wednesday and the third Wednesday of the month and attend the meetings. We also have planning board meetings. We also have ZBA meetings. And again, most times those meetings, only the applicants show up and we don't get an audience. So nobody knows what's going on. And then everybody wonders why we're getting a building here or we're getting a building there or a business there. I'll get to you in a minute, man. You set, Bill? Bill? You good?
Yeah.
Sir?
Question. You want to raise my taxes 16 point whatever. Okay? I live in Plattekill. I live on 4455. I absolutely get 2 services from the town of Plattekill. Police, fire. That's it. Plattekill Highway. Everything else, there's nothing for me. I get state to plow my roads. I get county that works there. What do I get besides the 2 things, and you want to increase my taxes to put me in a bigger hole than I already am?
I think you have to look at the whole picture. I mean, I understand what you're saying. It seems like you're on the major highway state, but you still travel the back roads.
I don't travel back roads. I travel county roads. I travel the state roads.
I really don't have an answer
all
for
the
that.
small roads.
There is a lot of things that you get from the town. There's a lot of things that happen in the town. A lot of things that are going on in the town. And I'm sorry that people don't have the opportunity to capture every single essence of the town. But honestly, I love living in Plattekill because there is one heck of a lot of things to take advantage of in Plattekill. There is a lot of good community events. There's a lot of things that gets the folks together. There's a lot of things that we've tried to do to generate communication amongst the different hamlets. One of the most, and I always say this, one of the most unfortunate things is just the demographics of Plattekill, or the geographics, I should say, is we have 3 different post offices, 3 different fire departments, 5 different school districts, 7 zip codes. We have a number of churches, and nobody from Plattekill knows the folks from this side of town, never met these people on that side of town. We try to do everything we can to make the town inclusive and make it good. And I would encourage you to get involved. And
I am involved. I'm involved in a lot of things in the town. I'm here 29 years. And I've seen it go downhill in my eyes. The roads are terrible.
Yes. Yep.
Okay? They're unbelievable.
What roads specifically are terrible?
Just now, even 4455, state road. They finally fixed that 2 years ago. You couldn't drive down it. Drive down 32 towards Newburgh. You kill yourself.
Yep. Right on the Orange County line.
Buy a new car, because by the time you go a year up and down these roads, and even that. But side roads, yes, I can see your independent roads where you have your homes, everything else. Nobody goes in those roads. They use the county roads, they use the state roads. Okay?
Well, I have to tell
But
you
the
that.
thing is that there's so many other things to do. I'm involved with my church. I'm involved with the school. I have rescue dogs that go out for therapy for everybody. So I do a lot of things. I'm a retired paid fireman. We have volunteer firemen here, which is a great thing, because I was a volunteer for over 30 years. But there's nothing showing that. Why do we need this? They want. Everybody wants. Everybody's driving around in a new car.
Yep.
Come on. I was on a deployment. We had rigs for 15 years. We didn't go out and buy one every 10 years or every year to get a new car because they wanted an update. It's just getting overspent.
Understood.
We're not thinking. All right, cars don't get worn out in a year.
Understood. I'll get to you. This gentleman's in front.
All right. My name's Mike Majorano, by the way. I'm sorry I came in hot for.
That's all right, Mike.
A little fired up, like a lot of people are. I feel that more people should know. I heard at 7:10. I jumped in the car. 7:01. I called my buddy. He's on the way. I said, "Jump in the car. We got to get down there." But there's a couple of things I want to touch on.
Yeah.
My mortgage just went up $180 a month related to the school stuff. I'm on a fixed income too. My wife, her job said no raises this year. Right now it's going up more. It's crazy. It's crazy to me. We're talking about building a new building. You just said 4 people show up to the meetings. Why do we need a new building if nobody shows up?
Yep.
Again, that's feasibility study.
Hold on, let me get through this. Then I'm looking at this town of Plattekill dog control thing. 0 dangerous dogs. Everything is resolved. I've been in contact with Andrew McGee. I have a neighbor. Her dog killed my cat, killed a neighbor's chicken, killed another neighbor's chicken.
Sure.
I've gotten pictures, this dog on my yard, aggressive towards my wife. Nothing's been done. He goes, this is the way it goes. And Andrew's been good about it. They issued a court date. The guy didn't show up. Nothing happened. And then I got to come in here and I see we have 0 dangerous dog cases. Like, what is that? Like, realistically, what is that? Because this is smoke and mirrors. This isn't what actually, this is not what's going on.
I would ask you, if you could, give me a call tomorrow. We'll talk about that further.
Yeah, you have a card?
And Friday night, I'll give you my number.
Okay.
And Friday night is Andrew will be here for his budget meeting.
Okay.
So
I haven't met Andrew
please
yet,
come.
but we've talked 15 times on the phone.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Where are you
When
located?
the
Are you
dogs
right here in
running
town?
loose, killing people's pets.
Are you
That's
right here in
crazy.
town that you're located? Or?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, definitely.
And also, what he was saying, the taxes. I live on a private road. I got to plow my own road. I got to plow the road next to my road. I don't even get a mailbox. You know what I mean? It's a sewer, septic. I get nothing. I pay $11.5 in taxes, and it just went up. It's insane, man.
Totally.
That's why I'm fired up. That's why some of these people are fired up. It's ridiculous.
We need another meeting so more people can hear about it. More people can come. But I can tell you this, I know 13 people in my development who will be here, but they didn't come because they didn't want to overcrowd. If everybody knew about it, you'd have to have it at the community center.
Well,
Because
we
nobody in
do
this
not have a
town
community
right
center
now,
in the town.
nobody in this town right now can afford an increase that you're asking for.
Totally understood.
Cost of living is 7.5%, I think.
I think that's conservative.
The outcome of it is basically, I own my own business. I haven't taken a raise in 3 years. Okay? I keep my guys working. They pay their taxes. Okay? But it's getting to the point. I'm a senior. I'm a Vietnam vet. I applied for a tax break. They gave me $200 off. Think about that. I did 13 months in combat for $200 a month. Okay? It's getting ridiculous.
That's insulting.
It needs to be insulting.
It really is. That's crazy. I'll get back to you, ma'am.
Annette Leskowski. I'm one of the 4 people who show up all the time. Pete, I don't think that it's clear exactly what's going to happen. November 6th is going to be the budget hearing.
That will be the actual budget hearing.
Three budgets. This is the first one. The second one is the one that you propose, and the sixth is the meeting that the people can go to and question
Yes.
line by line what you did, why you did it, and hopefully have you change it.
And that will be the opportunity with the actual budget.
And what's the date?
Six.
The sixth.
Well, if we don't like it, then
Yeah,
there's
you
nothing
can't
that
do
can be
anything
done.
about it at that point.
You can voice your opinion, and I'm not going to tell you that won't happen. I can't tell you that. That's your opportunity to voice your opinion.
The problem that happens every year is people show up to this meeting because you hear about you're going to do the tax cap. The meeting that's important to go to is the one on November 6th because that's the second budget that they put together. After that budget hearing, after they make their other changes, hopefully reductions, the final budget comes out and nobody has a say on that. But on the 6th, at the budget hearing, is where people should come and ask the intricate questions.
Just to echo on what you're saying, and I did say it earlier, I think it's important that everybody come the first and third, all the meetings from now through the budget. I would love to see folks here for every meeting that we have, but I think specifically, don't leave here discouraged and not come back at the next meeting. Come back. Look at the agendas, but it's important to come back. We're going to give everybody an opportunity. We have a portion of our meeting where we can have public comment, and that's also a good time to express your desires, your interests, your comments. But thank you for that, Annette. Leave you on the red hat.
Yeah, my name is Mike Secreta. I live over in Summer Ridge Drive. I'm retired. My wife's retired now. We're on a fixed income. I inquired about the senior citizen reduction, right? Years ago, it used to be, I think, $60-something thousand between the couple. Now it's only $32,000. My bills in my house are over $3,100 a month. It's already, I'm almost over. I mean, why is it so low?
That is something that we do not have any control with. That's a county and state.
I mean, here we get, you want to raise our taxes, but you have no control over that.
We don't have control over
So
that.
who controls that?
The county and the state control those taxes. So I would encourage you to reach out to the Senate. We all have senators for the areas. They're congressmen. And I believe that really is something that should be looked at.
Yeah, it should be. I mean, that's ridiculous.
You know, again, when we talk about the veterans exemptions.
You can't make more than $32,000 on your retirement?
Yep.
My bills are $3,200 a month. You know, it puts me over every year.
Well, that's like the star exemptions. That's all by the state.
Yeah, but you're adding up more on the town.
I mean, I could see like every year, you know, I check my taxes, it went up 2%. Right, that's fine. Okay. Now 16%? That's going to screw me really bad.
Well, again,
I mean,
this is the tentative budget.
How much is that all going to be a year in dollars and cents?
If you're looking at it right now, if you're looking at it right now, we never touched anything. We're talking about, let's just see. So if we raise it right now and we use $300 out of the unexpended fund balance for our general fund, we're looking at a home of $275,000. Your taxes would be $710.60 a year for the general fund. But that sounds like it's low, and it is. You have to add in your highway also into that. So for that same home on $275,000, you're going to look at it, and it's going to be $629.64. So you're talking about $1,400.
Yeah, but how about our houses that are worth more than that?
100%. Keep in mind, this is not on the value of your home. This is your assessment. So it's taxable assessment. So I don't know what the exact numbers are. Don't hold me to it, but
it's going to be more than
I'm not sure what the percentages are.
Now, right?
Well, let me just say this. Just say the $300,000 home in the town of Plattekill. That's assessed at $300,000. I think that, to me, a little bit above. I think we're more towards $250,000, $275,000. When you look at those numbers, that doesn't mean that home is only worth $275,000. There's a percentage of the total value of what they tax it on. So it's taxed at a 60% rate. It's taxed at 67. I don't know.
Well, my assessment was $333. That's how much my house. They say.
Well, that's your assessment, but that's not the appraisal of your house. Your house realistically might be $510,000.
Okay, that's right. Okay.
So
I think this year we're at like 50% equalization rate.
I don't know what that is. I thought it was not a solid number like 50 or 55 or 60. I thought it was 57 or 63.
That's what I'm saying. I think it.
But that just gives you a rough idea. So this can be as much as a 70 cent per thousand increase. So, to me that's substantial. And that's for the general fund. If you're looking at it with the same house for the highway fund, and keep in mind those budgets are two different percentages. That's 5 cents per thousand. So. Again, 16.5%, 16.7 or 70. That's our tentative budget and our desire and hopes. We're going to get it down. We're going to get it down. It's going to come down. Okay. Mr. Baum?
Yes, I don't really look at this as a 16.7% overall increase. I look at it as a 38+% increase in the general fund, and I find that more onerous. So my question to you is, if you could extrapolate the feelings of the town through what you're seeing here at this meeting, and you took the historic step of not exceeding the 2% cap, what would happen?
What would happen is that we would have to stay within that 2% increase, and we would do the taxes at 2%, and we would have to cut services. We would have to cut services drastically. And there's mandates that we cannot cut, so we would actually be going in debt. And when I say that, you look at things like insurance. Insurance is not just for the employees. You have insurance for vehicles, you have insurance for buildings, you have insurance for properties. All of that goes up in a percentage. You have the increased cost to run the town, the fuels, the heat, the electric. We also have an obligation for the web to use internet and other things that we have. Cell phones, funding the police department. We would drastically have to cut and really establish an austerity budget where we would lose a lot of services. And we would probably even come to the point where we'd have to close down departments. I don't know what that would look like. I really don't. And my desire and hope is that we never have to come to that and live that way. We have a town to run. It's our obligation to make it as affordable as we can. I have always said and will continue to say that $20 in a person's pocket, $10 in a person's pocket changes that person. It's tough. We realize the world we live in. We're not sitting up here in some kind of an ivory tower saying, we're not listening to you. We hear you. We're living that same life. Everybody has their own story. And, it's not up to me to make your story my story. It's our story as a community. We're trying to survive. We want good things for our community. We want the government to work. We don't, my thing is, do I believe in large government and government's here to help? No, not at all. There's things and obligations that we have to do and have to supply and we have to support and we have to fund, and we're doing our best where we can. And again, my oath, I take that very seriously. And, again, this is a tentative budget at 16.70, and we are doing our best to cut it. And I feel we're making headway. I just cannot commit to what that number is going to be at the end of the day. I don't want to give false information or false hope. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I got a quick question. A couple months ago, I was on New Unionville. Dog got hit by a car. Right? Couldn't find the owner. Called the cops. We were told that there's no cops. It was a Saturday night. Plattekill. Called state trooper. So what is that about?
So I will tell you this, that there is shifts in Plattekill on the weekends that have not been covered because of staffing issues. Maybe there was nobody available. Again, we're a part-time department, so we cannot guarantee that every single shift is filled. But I can tell you that's something that we take very seriously, and we are addressing that. And that is a big concern.
It was like 10 p.m. It wasn't like 3 in the morning when it was pretty early. I mean, it was nighttime.
No, we're aware.
It was
of that.
early enough.
Yeah, we are aware of that. And again, that is something that we take very seriously. And, we are trying to fill every single shift. And I do know that we are not at full staff with the PD. And again, it's a part-time department. But to me, it's our obligation, if we're going to fund those lines, then I want somebody there. That's what we want.
Well, that's what I'm curious about. You say you want to increase. We say no, but pretty much we all know it's going to happen, right? No matter how much we protest. But I just want to make sure if there is an increase, then maybe someone should be put on a shift. Because if our money's going to go somewhere, I'd rather have it going into people working and not just, $1 million into mulch at a park or what. I'm just using it as an example, but I know how wasteful spending it could be. Like there's a lot of waste going on.
Yeah.
And when the economy is as bad as it is, I would like to see you guys trim where you can. Like you say, the cabinets. Why not just get a room and put like a metal door on it, with a security lock or whatever, and just say this is our room for the vinyl and stuff.
Can I invite? Honestly, and I'm not going to do this to say this to be funny. Okay. I'm going to do this to be totally honest and upfront. So we have court in the same room that we're sitting in right now. In court, we have, I would say, as many as 100 to 125 people that come in here on a Monday, and they come in here on a Friday. Our court is extremely busy. And those folks are here sometimes from 9 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock at night. So that being said, we have an ADA. Not only do we have an ADA, we have public defenders, we have attorneys that come in, talk to their clients, and that is our holding area right there, this little room with a bench into it. That's our holding area, that if somebody comes from Ulster County Jail, from any place from DCJS that's already incarcerated, they put them in there to secure them away from the folks that are out here. So that being said, this building, if you will, the double doors that are in the back of the room, we have to give the attorneys and their clients an area where they can go in there and converse and actually talk about their cases. They have to have the opportunity away from everybody, so their situation, it's almost like the HEPA law. Their situation is not explained in front of other people, and that's what we have to do. But honestly, truly, not to be funny, take a walk into that room and take a good look at that room. Anybody, I invite everybody to take a look at that room before you guys leave tonight. If you are, everybody is innocent until proven guilty, and if you're coming into court and you already have 150 folks, maybe 50 at a time, people are constantly flowing in and out, and I will tell you, we have one bathroom. We do have a urinal and a toilet in that bathroom. So that services everybody who's here, plus the staff of the town. But that's where you're going to go to talk to your attorney. And honestly, I'm not being funny, but you've got a hot water heater in the back there. To the left, you have shelves that have cardboard, recyclables that are over there. We have a very small area on the top shelves where the overflow from the offices put stuff in there. I think our municipal worker is in here a couple times a week breaking down the cardboard to get it out of there because of the day-to-day operations. But you also have something that's in there, and I shouldn't say it out loud, but I will. On the right-hand side with that door that's there is our entire IT department. All the computers that support everything that's going on in the town. All right, well, I understand that this building isn't great compared to other courthouses. So, like even like Newburgh down the road. It's got all kinds of stuff. So I understand that, but if you're looking to do a new building, why not wait till inflation comes down a little bit? Wages go up. Don't misunderstand what I said earlier. 100%. It's a 3 to 5 year plan down the road. What 3 to 5 years looks like, I may not be sitting here in 3 to 5 years.
I understand.
I may be standing there alongside of you saying.
But when it comes to town buildings, it goes union. I know that. He's a union iron worker. I was a union iron worker for 17, 12 years. So we know. You know the costs. The costs are pretty high. And it has to go union because of PLA and all that stuff. So I understand that's good, but I think that maybe we should just try to push it off a little bit,
Understood. Keep in mind, the feasibility study that we're doing and the work that we're doing is funded through the ARPA funds. It's a use it or lose it. It didn't cost us directly, the taxpayers of the town of Plattekill, directly to fund that entire, we all pay taxes, so there's no such thing as a free lunch. But that money is available to use, and we felt that it was smart to utilize that for this portion now. So we're paying for it now with money that we receive through the federal government to do the study, to have everything in writing. So 3 to 5 years down the road, if it's feasible to do it, that's when it's going to be presented. And the work that's being done today, I'm just going to give you a hypothetical number, $100,000 today, 7 years down the road, with the economy the way it is, that $100,000 may be $300,000. And guess what? We're going to have folks fill in the room and say, why didn't you do this before? It makes so much more sense to have everything there to be able to present it down the road and say, this is what we're looking for. This is what we need. This is what we have to survive. As opposed to, we'd like to have this Taj Mahal, we'd like to have this, we'd like to have that. It just makes sense to do it now when it doesn't cost us on this line. It doesn't affect our budget at all to do this. And if we don't do this now, then we lose that money. And so it was an opportunity to spend that money what we felt was wisely to do. And again, if anybody has any questions after here, don't feel like, there's no opportunity. Please give me a call, come in and sit down and voice your concerns. Tell me. And it doesn't matter that it's just budget season. I mean, any time of the year. There's always something going on. And we don't consider just September to November budget season. We as a board consider every day budget season. That's what we do. That's what we're here for. Was there somebody else? Yes, ma'am.
I had a question about, this is the page where we have the general fund, the highway fund, and then we have special districts.
Is there a number on the right-hand side?
Yeah.
Or are you the square, the box is square?
Yeah, it looks like this, just before that one.
On the right-hand side, I think there's a page number.
There's no page number. Town of Plattekill 2025 tentative budget summary of levy and determination.
First page in.
Before that other chart. So I just want to make sure that I get it right. The first two lines are general and highway town.
Yes.
So everybody pays those taxes, right?
Yes.
It's divided up among all of us.
Yes.
Then we get to special districts. So there's the library district. I live in Clintondale. So my library is actually a library in Highland.
Lloyd. Town of Lloyd.
In the town of Lloyd, right. So I'm not going to be paying anything for that town of Plattekill library,
No,
right?
you pay the town of Lloyd.
Right, okay. So then when we get to the light districts, I just pay for Clintondale. I don't pay for Modena. If you live in Modena,
I am not sure about that. I can't answer that accurately because I think since they're on state roads, I think that we collectively pay for the 3 different districts. I'm not sure, but I can look that up and let you know.
Then there's these drainage districts. If you live in the drainage district, you pay the tax, right?
Yes.
If you don't live in that drainage district, you don't pay any tax.
I believe you're accurate with that. That is what they call it in and out. So that'll be offset by a revenue sheet in the budget. It'll show that like developments have the drainage districts in it. So the taxes are collected through the developments and then it's an in and out. So if a dollar comes in and there's a dollar required for that drainage district, that's how they do it.
Okay. And then depending upon which fire district you live in, you just pay that part of it.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure that we all can see how that works.
There's 7 different drainage districts, and they're listed right there as well. You have Hunt Road Drainage District, Glen Rock Hills, Torrey Gardens, Spring Meadows, Peters Place, Finn Estates, and Huckleberry Ridge.
Okay. Great. That's all I want to know is make sure you see how it's divided up.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I appreciate the time. I don't envy the position any of you in tonight, having to present us with a almost 40% tax increase on top of an 8% last year. It reminds me of prior to me taking office as a county legislator, the 2 terms before me, 2 years prior to me taking office, the tax was time went up almost 50%. We had to make tough decisions back then in order to get things under control. We actually sold off a nursing home, which was very unpopular at the time. We put a lot of people lost their jobs, and some people claim that the services went down. But looking at this budget, the tax levy is increasing by almost $500,000. The line item on the police department is increasing by $479,000, almost equal to that. I know it's impossible to freeze that number to where you can get this down to a zero, and I know you guys are working hard. I watched the videos. I talked to Mr. Hoppenstead about it, trying to get these numbers down. But the conversation, to echo Mr. Fowler's point, needs to be had with the county, state police, and this is not to disparage the hard work that the police department does. The officers that are out there risk their life. Every time you go out there, they may not come back. They should be paid and well protected. But is it worth $1.2 million to have a part-time police department? Can we use that money better to offset tax increases in the future? And can the Sheriff's Department in Ulster County provide that service? Ulster County has a $440 million budget with a surplus of $171 million. We could surely offset to help protect this town. And judging by the mood here tonight, I'm going to recommend, I don't know the time frame that you have, but I believe there's time where you could hold this public hearing open and keep it open for more further comment down the road. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Next? Yes, sir.
Matthew Morrison, 332 Medina. I just wanted to ask a couple questions. One was police. How many part-time employees does the police department have?
The part-time police officers, I believe they have I think the number goes up to 23 or 24, and I believe right now they are shy by 6, but I do know that there's an anticipation of bringing more on over the next 2 months.
I was just wondering. At one time, wasn't the police department closed down under the previous administration? And the sheriff's department's closed?
I don't ever remember that happening. Yeah, I don't ever remember that happening.
Thank you.
Right? Anyone else? Anyone else? I'm going to take this opportunity now to read a letter that I received, and I said that I would read this. And this is for the public hearing. This letter is going to be from Joyce Hetzler, and it is dated Wednesday, October 16th, 2024. My name is Joyce Hetzler. My children are the 5th generation to live in our old farmhouse located in Plattekill. We love our community, and we're proud members of it. When I first heard about this proposed law, I was taken back. Currently, my husband and I pay around $10,000 in taxes. We work hard to provide for our family and oftentimes have to make sacrifices to make ends meet. My 3 children don't have lavish birthday parties. They wear hand-me-downs, and our newest car is 12 years old. I have watched my bills increase, yet each week I bring home the same paycheck. I don't get arbitrarily decided to raise what I bring home. That enables me to get a new car or afford a new roof. I am asking the town not to pass the law, but rather do whatever every family in this town does, which is cut costs, make sacrifices, and keep the tax levy increases. Keep to the tax levy increases. 4, if this vote passes, not only will each member of this board lose my next vote, but you also lose my respect, for you are not willing to do what your constituents do every week, every month, every year. It is not signed because it was an email, and I thought it was important to read that. These are the thoughts of our entire board. This is real life. What you folks shared with us tonight is real life. And it is tough decisions. And again, I will tell you that I took an oath, and my oath is to do the job. And I have to do the job the best way I know how. I feel that the board is the same mindset. If they're not, please feel free to speak. It's not an easy decision to make. It's not an easy thing to do. Again, the tax cap is simply to go above the tax cap. This is a tentative budget. The budget is presented as a tentative budget at 6.70%. I will say that we did trim quite a large number off the police department's request. I am not going to balance the budget, if you will, off the backs of the employees. The employees suffer and live through the same experiences that we described earlier. Those folks don't make a whole lot of money. And again, the position that the board has felt is that they also have to survive. We do not want to have spaces or places in our employees that are here that we have holes that we can't fill because we're not being competitive with other locations or private businesses. So we are obligated, and I believe both morally but specifically obligated, to make sure that the folks get paid to do the job that they were hired for. We are also obligated to supply and furnish the equipment, tools, necessary PPEs, whatever it takes to do that job and do that job in a safe, effective manner that benefits all of us. Although we may not see every single thing that the employees do or that the government here in the town of Plattekill does or supplies or provides for you, but I can assure you that everybody in public service, both on the town general level, at the highway department, at the transfer station, at each fire department that is in our area, in our town, do a heck of a lot with a very little. And we keep asking them. And I think that realistically, you know, I understand, but it's not the same world that we grew up in. These are tough times. And honestly, I respect in everybody's input, and it is all duly noted. But at the end of the day, we are not going to not supply the necessary things that we have to do. Now, I get it. I understand it, that everybody isn't privy to every single or desires to be part of every single thing that's provided by the town, nor any of the other governing agencies that collect taxes to offset the cost of doing business. But the reality is, we are all in this together. So, at this time, is there anybody else that has anything else to say, comments, input? Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Morris, I have a question. Will the preliminary budget be available to the public before November 6th?
Yes.
And when can we pick
I'm not 100% sure of the date, but I can read it in the book after the meeting, and I'll let you know. But it will be presented beforehand. We are still going through the, again, we still have 1, 2, 3 more departments to do the budget meetings. Just to let you folks know that tomorrow night we have safety, which is actually the building department, and I believe that's at 4:30. Friday we have the recreation department, and we also have the local troop. So both of those will be on Friday. But I encourage folks to attend, to attend those meetings, and you can voice your concerns, make comments. I will give you the opportunities if you'd like. Those are smaller budgets. I will tell you that last night the police department was here, and respectfully, they worked right along with us. They presented a budget. There was a lot of wants on there, and there was also a lot of needs. And out of respect for all the costs going up, they took those needs and they looked at them a little bit differently. They offset a couple things, agreed to research them a little bit better, and maybe implement them down the road. There was a couple of new items on there that were mandates, and we did not fully fund them because we didn't have a history to go on what they would cost. So we are going to do our due diligence to try to keep within those budgets. But the reality is, if they're mandates, we may have to move money from another line, which that line is going to suffer to satisfy the mandates in that line. But again, it's I don't want to say a balancing act per se, but the budget is an estimate, a projection of what's going to happen, and we don't know what's going to happen in the future. My hopes are that things change. Things have to change drastically. it's just a tough time. I have one more. You had a question?
I just wanted to let you know that each week we publish all the meetings that happen in Town of Lloyd, Marlborough, and Plattekill.
And that's with the Southern Ulster Times. So you can go onto their website, and pretty much your website there's a lot of free uses. I don't know if there's
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know if there's like a cost to do it, but I do know that I go on there quite a bit.
But it's every week we publish all the meetings.
Yeah, so we appreciate that. Another question?
One more question. You took $300,000 from the town's unexpended budget, and then $300 from the highway department.
Yes, there's $300 from the highway department.
Can I ask what the total amount is of their unexpended budget?
This right now is again tentative, but I'm going to tell you this. Last year we took $200,000 from the highway department's fund balance. Out of that $200,000, $180,000 or $184,000 was spent on a backhoe. So it sounds like, holy cow, you're taking it and you're going backwards, but it's not. This year, $300,000 is going to be taken from the highway department, the DA fund balance, and $263,000 is going to be spent on a replacement chipper and to replace a F-450 dump truck, which is a snow plow and a sander.
I was more wondering what we have remaining in the unexpended fund balance.
Right now, the fund balance, I'm not sure the numbers exactly, and I'm not going to quote the highway department, but I will tell you that the fund balance for the general fund is approximately, I believe, $1.2 to $1.3 million.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay. So I will make a motion to close the public input for the public hearing portion.
We'll second it.
We have a motion on the floor to close the public input with a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. And this leads us to the next step. And we are going to move forward. Okay, at this time, the legislative intent. It is the intent of the local law to override the limit on the amount of the real property taxes that may be levied by the town of Plattekill pursuant to the general municipal law, section 3-C, and to allow the town of Plattekill to adopt a budget for its fiscal year 2024 that requires a real property tax levy, an increase of the tax levy limits as defined by general municipal law, section 3-C. The town board finds that the local law is necessary due to the recent extreme inflation, the continued impositions on the town of Plattekill, various unfunded mandates from the federal, state, and county governments, as well as a continued obligation of the town of Plattekill relative to its contracts with various public sector unions. Similar to many municipalities across the state of New York, the town board does not have the discretion to alter the 2024 tentative budget to meet the new requirements of the statute, General Municipal Law, Section 3-C, without a drastic reduction in the provision of the basic services that the town residents have enjoyed over the past many years. Therefore, this local law is in the public interest of the town of Plattekill, of the people of the town of Plattekill. Section 2, authority. This local law is adopted pursuant to a subsection 5 of the General Municipal Law, Section 3-C, which expresses authorization and authorizes the town board to override the tax levy limit by the adoption of a local law approved by a vote of 60% of the town board. Section 3, tax levy limit override. The town board of the town of Plattekill, county of Ulster, hereby is authorized to adopt a budget for the fiscal year 2025 that requires a real property tax levy in excess of the amount otherwise prescribed in General Municipal Law, Section 3-C. Section 4, serviceability. If any section or subsection, paragraph, clause, phrase, or provision of the law shall be adjudged invalid for any reason, or shall be deleted or subsequently repealed, the same shall not affect the validity of the local law as a whole or any part of provision hereof, other than the part to be adjudged. to be invalid and or deleted and or subsequently repealed. The determination by any court of competent jurisdiction that any provisions of the within local law is enforceable, invalid, void, unconstitutional, or in conflict with federal or state laws shall not in any way affect the enforceability or validity of any other provisions contained herein. Additionally, such determinations shall be confined in its operation to the person, individual, entity, firm, corporation, company, or circumstance directly involved in the controversy in which such judgment or order shall be rendered. And Section 5, effective date. This local law shall take effect immediately upon publication and filing with the Secretary of State in accordance with the Municipal Home Rule Law of the State of New York or sooner, if allowed by law. Being enacted this day, this October, day of the 16th, correct? Yeah, correct. 2024 by the Town Board of the Town of Plattekill, County of Ulster, State of New York. So, let me... Okay. So I will make a motion that we go forward with this law, introductory law number 2 of 2024. And this is override of tax levy limit. So I got a motion on the floor.
Second the motion.
Got a motion on the floor with a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. And for the record, I will have it duly noted that Councilman Wilfredo Castillo Jr. is not present at this time. On the vote, all ayes. So passed. Okay. Resolution. Next on the agenda is we have an addition, is a resolution on the ARPA funds. And the addition is basically to satisfy, again, the purchase through the ARPA funds of the equipment, the adjustment. And this is resolution number 66, 2024, October 16, 2024. ARPA, American Rescue Plan Act, resolution regarding remaining funds. A motion was made by myself to approve the ARPA funds as stated, and this is, whereas the town of Plattekill received $1,046,150.70 in ARPA funds in 2021 and 2022, and as stated in the required annual filing through 03/31/2024. The town has the remaining obligation balance of $978,946.90, which must be either obligated in formal contract by 12/31/2024 or expended by said date. Now therefore be it resolved that the town of Plattekill Town Board agrees to prioritize and complete where possible the listed projects with the remaining ARPA funds by 12/31/2024. The adjustment for the Gaga area from 26 feet to 30 feet and the change in the base from crushed stone to concrete for the amount of $3,422. The adjustment for the pickleball court base, additional stone to level the base and adjustment in orientation for the amount of $3,230, and the purchase of flow/fill concrete for the entry to the pickleball courts for the amount of $950. At the regular town board meeting of the town of Plattekill held on October 16, 2024, the following board members. So that is a motion to make that adjustment, resolution 66.
I'll second that.
So we have a motion on the floor with a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. And again, Councilman Castillo, not present. Next we have under addition, this is a memorandum to the Supervisor Depew from Robert Wager Sr. Subject is the winter hours. And this is our notification for the winter hours. The winter hours, this note was dated October 16, 2024. This is to let you know that the town of Plattekill Highway Department will be starting their winter schedule on Monday, November 4th, 2024. The hours will be Monday through Friday, 6:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. And that was it on the additions. And our monthly reports. So our monthly reports, first is the Police Department report, Town of Plattekill Police Department, September 2024 monthly report. Calls for service are 664. Traffic stops, 201. Tickets issued, 96. Motor vehicle accidents, 7. Motor vehicle accidents with injuries, 3. Emergency medical calls, 23. Property checks, 99. Community-orientated policing projects, 159. Misdemeanor arrest, 18. Felony, 0. Violations to arrest, 0. A psychiatric arrest, 1. Just to make it duly noted, if you look back up, I think it was line 5 or 6, emergency medical calls, a lot of times the value of our police department is questioned. And I will tell you that the police department, in most instances, our local part-time police department, probably 9 times out of 10 is probably first on the scene, and if not first, darn close to being first, possibly second. That being said, there is a lot of service that we gain by them as far as EMS calls to get the medical portion of that accident started. Yes.
I just wanted to say one thing regarding that particular.
Yeah.
A friend of mine came in from Georgia for a visit. He got sick 4 days after he got to the house. We had to call the ambulance. Plattekill Police Department showed up. Fire Department showed up. We had to do it again a couple of days later because he went in the hospital, came back out, and everybody showed up. I just got to say that everybody's talking about the bad things. I got to tell you, that's something that's
something really good that people say.
They all worked together. It was great.
Yep, duly appreciated, and I think that was worthy of saying, and I thank you very much for your time.
Public input?
I'll give you the opportunity to speak over that.
No, I mean, it's on the agenda.
What are we talking about?
Public input.
Oh, I'm sorry. I never closed the public input, did I? Or did I?
We never did it.
Public hearing.
I've been waiting patiently.
I'm sorry. There was so much talk. I apologize. So I'm going to leave this off at the dog control. I apologize for that. Thank you for pointing that out. So I'll make a motion that at we'll say 8:55 that we open up public input. So there's a motion on the floor for public input with a second.
I'll second.
Second. All in favor? Aye. This is your opportunity. I apologize. Out of respect for you,
I appreciate it.
Took me off. Go
I
ahead.
had two questions. One was, I wonder if you could give an update on the Liberty View Farms issue that was brought up 2 or 3 meetings ago, and whether there's any action towards that, resolving that.
I believe it should be on the agenda for the ZBA. I think there is the ZBA meeting on Thursday of next week that will be addressing some situation with that.
Okay.
But if you would look on our website, look at the agenda, and it should be on there.
Okay, because they have to go through an issue with them first.
Again, I don't know what the specifics are, but I do believe that it's on Thursday.
Okay, I'll check on that. The second question I had is, I was at a meeting today that RUPCO sponsored, and 2 of your councilmen were there on affordable housing.
Yeah.
And I wondered if the town has an affordable housing component in the code, or would consider adding that to the code.
I will tell you, presently, we do not have that in our code. Next Wednesday is our comprehensive plan meeting at 6:30 p.m., and I was going to make mention of that at the end of the meeting, but it's good to make mention now. So as that concludes the second phase, we are hoping we put in and applied for a grant to talk about our zoning and redoing that, and that is something that we're going to bring up during that process. That seems to be definitely a needed item, but that is something we'll be looking at in the future as well.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Is that it?
I'm good.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
This is one sign of 4 others that were ripped off my property. You know the issues I'm having behind my house.
I do.
I'm done. Mr. O'Flaherty, this has nothing to do with you. You're exempt before this even started. Gross, when it first happened 3 years ago, when I walked up here and I asked him, why is somebody digging behind my property, right by my property line? Oh, don't worry about it. It's no big deal. They're just putting storage containers behind there. Problem proceeded to get worse. Mud all over the road. Salimo was elected. When I tried to talk to her, I don't have time for that. The issue continued to go. You come in after the fact, which is not your fault, but you were the only one that came out and spoke to me. Now, since that time, there's been other issues and I have said nothing. But now, my property was destructed, okay? Shouldn't happen. All he's doing is showing that I'm right, and the planning board and the zoning board were wrong for letting this project go through. Because I'm going to say this in public, and I mean this wholeheartedly. Go to bed, all of you tonight, and get on your knees. Because if, God forbid, one of my family members get hurt, or my property is destroyed again by this individual, I'm coming after everybody personally, because you approved this nonsense. You need to put a leash on this guy. He was told by the planning board not to drive his equipment up and down the road. He didn't listen. He continued to do it. I have people pull over in my driveway asking me why there's rocks on the road. I said, it's not my property. This incident happened after I came home and one of the construction workers were on my property, cutting a tree on my property. I walked back there. I said, what are you doing? Well, I'm cutting this tree down. That's in the way of the excavator. I said, you realize you're standing on my property? Well, no. So now another worker that I know gets out of the excavator, comes out, goes, Aunt, what's going on? I said, well, listen, I don't have a problem if this is in your way. I said, but you're standing on my property, and that tree's on my property, and it was cut down. I let that go. I'm done now. I'm not letting anything go. I want you to understand that. I am going to shut this project down with your help or without your help, because he hasn't listened to a damn thing since day one. And he was created by this town because he's on a Rotary Club and he can do whatever he wants. You want to talk about cleanup? Yeah, he did a wonderful job cleaning up. You know what he did with all the garbage bags? Because I got pictures. Threw them on my front lawn to be a wise ass. This is supposed to be a gentleman in your community, a business owner, and this is the way he acts? I made a report with the DEC, and I'm going to continue to move forward until this is shut down. And I don't care. We're friends, but right now this is business.
Totally understand.
And I'm done, Dean. I'm done. You're the only one that came out here, but somebody needs to put this on the ropes because I'm not dealing with this anymore. There's going to be an accident out there, and I've made that perfectly clear. And when that happens, and I don't wish bad on anything, if it's not me or somebody else, I'm going to give them every email, every photo, everything I've got to those people who are injured to let them know this is why this happened. What is it going to take? What is it going to take? Because if this was being done in your backyard, I'm sure you'd feel the same way. But the first supervisor, Gross, don't worry about it. No big deal. Salimo didn't have time for me. You came out and you saw it and you said, you know what, Aunt, you're right. But it was too late. Everything was approved. What would you do if somebody came on your property and did that? How would you feel? That's disrespect right there.
Understood. So let me do this.
I'm not doing it no more.
Listen to me. Let me take that as a statement. I appreciate the statement that you said, and I would ask that you contact me when you're available, and we'll further the conversation.
The only one that's going to contact you is my lawyer. I'm beyond that now.
Either way.
I'm beyond it.
If you feel the need, contact me, we'll further that conversation.
My lawyer do all my talking now. After this was done, I trust nobody.
Okay, duly noted.
Nobody. It should have never happened in the first place. This is a grown man who owns a business in this town, and you allowed him to continue to do, not just you, prior supervisors and board members. When I sat there and I heard him tell him, don't ride your backhoe up and down the road. That lasted 2 weeks. Continue to do it. My neighbor's property gets flooded all the time now when it rains. He came to me. I said, Matt, I can't speak for you. You have to go to the town. I've done what I've done. You know me. You get the bull, you're getting the horns. I'm done playing games. I've had enough. This is total disrespect. And if you disrespect my property, what's next?
Totally understand. And again, I'll take that as a statement from you, and that offer still stands open. think
If something else happens, you're just going to hear from my lawyer. I'm not doing it.
Contact me, and we will continue that conversation.
There is no more conversation. The damage is done.
All right, understood. Anybody else? You set before I go? All right, anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
I think, from what I understand, earlier in the year there was a change in the website or an update, whatever. I know these things get updated. But the search bar, you used to be able to search all the documents that are on the website. And now the search bar only lets you search what's physically on the website. It doesn't let you search those documents, and it's an issue because now, instead of just being able to look something up, like if I want to see the history of the battery storage, I used to be able to just put that in. Now I would have to FOIL everything, and so that's a really big issue for people.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a note specifically on that for the battery storage, so then I can look at that and see how that affects other things also.
Okay, thank you.
Excuse me, that search engine was supposed to be set up that if you put in a word, anything that's connected with that word should populate.
And it doesn't.
Thanks for pointing that out.
Sure.
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to point out two things at the county level. It looks to me, I was chairman of the Ulster County Resource Recovery Agency Board for a number of years. And from my point of view, it looks like they are absolutely out of control. And the prices are going to go through the roof.
Yes, they are.
So I'm just warning you.
Yep. I did receive a letter, I think 2 months ago, with the possible anticipation of the prices going way up.
The new director is out to lunch. The other thing I was going to mention was the sheriff's office. Apparently, as I'm motoring up 9W, there's a sign there indicating that they're trying to hire more people to work in the sheriff's office. So they are apparently very low on staff also.
That is an issue that's going on all around. If you notice also, the New York State Police used to run an academy every 2 years, and they would give a test opposite every 2 years. Now they're running 4 and 5 academies a year. So it's definitely, it's an issue that's real. So it doesn't affect just one agency, it affects all the agencies.
Interesting.
All right, anything else? All right, thank you. Anybody else?
I forget his number because I don't know. Maybe he don't want to stay home for dog control.
That's my number right there. You can call me. All right. Thank you. Sorry, I don't have a card with me, but no, that's fine. That'll get you right directly to my office. All right, thank you. All right, anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. Could we just put a note in with our tax bills that the budget starts coming up in September? So that way there's a note across the board. It's a single mailing. So that way everybody that's not on the computer, not checking the newspapers, all gets it at the same time. It's not your fault if they don't mark their calendars, but with electric calendars and...
That's an interesting concept, and maybe what we can do is have it printed on the envelopes, and then it's going to be mailed out anyway.
Yeah, like when you're getting your bill, if you just have a piece of paper that's in there that says, be reminded that next year's budget starts review such and such, so that way everybody's informed at the same time.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe we can talk about that. Thank you.
You know what else? Maybe, I don't know if you could do it, because a big part of the taxes or the school bills, maybe you could reach out to the school to do that too, because a lot of people don't even vote on their budget.
But they get notice of that. There's a mailing from, like, I'm in Walk Hill School District, so you get a mailing saying when that's coming up. We don't for the town thing. And if nobody else opened
that
their
usually
mouth,
comes out in that like quarterly letter that they have.
But it's also like when mailing comes out with all the school buses and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Everybody gets that, but we don't do
Yeah, and
that.
we don't, like I said, we don't have that specific
But
thing.
to save funds,
I like
you
that
can
idea
usually
with
put,
printing it
or
on
it
the
used to be
envelope.
at least four pieces of paper in one envelope and still be covered by one stamp. So that's not an extra.
I think that's a great idea, I really do. I think that's a logical idea. Anyone else? Going once, going twice. Okay, so I will make a motion to close public input at 9:10 p.m. Second. We have a motion with a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. Okay, we will go back to the dog control. The Town of Plattekill Dog Control, and this is Andrew McKee, and this is Monday, October 7th, 2024. This is our September monthly report, and I will make notification or documentation of this as well, your concerns. This is the monthly report, 9/1/2024 to 9/30/2024, and it says, overview, we received a total of 15 calls this month, including 2 calls to service from the New York State Police, Plattekill Police, and Ulster County Sheriff. Responded to 2 active complaints and/or cases, which are now closed or resolved. We currently have 2 open cases or complaints. Case number 1 related to a dog bite in Modena Country Club. Subject to reimburse town for medical expenses of $305, no cents. Appearance tickets have been served pending October court date. Case number 2 related to impound fee of $368 due to the town of Plattekill for a dog running at large. Appearance tickets served pending October court date. We impounded 1 stray dog this month. The dog is in the process of being adopted. 0 appearance tickets were issued this month. There were no dog bites reported this month, and we have 0 dangerous dog cases under investigation at this time. End of report. The next is going to be our building department. Our building department, and this is for, it says to Supervisor Depew from Ed Diller, 10/10/2024, September 2024. Here's a list of building department monthly reports for September 2024. There was 42 permits issued, 11 violations, 1 violation closed. All inspections, this includes complaints, building violations, fire safety, CFOs and CFCs, 185. Complaints 7, complaints closed 1, complaints to violation 1, municipal searches 12, CC and CFOs 33, stormwater outfalls inspection 0, county tax sales inspection 0, and these numbers do not include returning phone calls and residents coming in for assistance with codes, building permits, zoning, and subdivision issues. I will tell you that office, the building department, the folks that work in there, including our specific building inspectors, have done an incredible job. And again, that is another department that is working their tails off, and really there's not enough hours in the day. They're very active. Next is our monthly assessors report. And this monthly report is for September 2024. So I always like to look back at the trends and look and see what's going on in our town. So we have transfers; those are 34. Foreclosures 0. Arm's length sales are 11. Vacant land sales 0. Residential sales 10. Commercial 1. Manufactured homes 0. And if you look at the trends, this month the average sale of home in September rose from August. August was $329,119, and September those numbers came up to $448,818. So that is quite a considerable jump there. Next, we have the Buildings and Grounds report, and this is the town board of the town of Plattekill from Robert Wager Sr. and Building and Grounds report dated 10/1/2024, and lowered all the flags for 9/11/24, changed all flags at the Veterans Memorial, Police Station, Town Hall, and Park. At the park, restock of minor supplies, exterminate spiders, marked all electrical outlets in the kitchen to relate to circuit breakers, set up a breakdown for Plattekill Day, begin building ramps to pickleball entrance. At the police station, they hung 2 wall boards, lubricated locks, fixed chair handle, perform pest control, and perform pest control. Garage, perform pest control. Town Hall performed pest control, adjusted hinges on doors, secured wall organizer, removed recycling. At the transfer station, made signs for the garbage dumpsters. And we have next is under the old business is the auction recommendations. So we did put equipment out to auction through our highway superintendent, and this is a memo that I received today to Supervisor DePue from Robert Wager Sr., Superintendent of Highways. The date is 10/16/2024, and this is re-auctions of surplus equipment. The online auction has closed with the following attached results. I recommend that the town board approve the sale of all the vehicles and the equipment as described on the AAR auction site. So on the second page, it gives a breakdown. Excuse me. So I will give you the prices that were actually bid, the finals onto them, and I want to make sure that I get these right and that they're accurate. So we had one, we had actually 12 altogether, and number one was the 2005 Caterpillar 416 backhoe loader. In number and such. There was 8,838 hours on it. Runs, drives, operates, extend a hoe with wrist and 2 buckets. And that went for, on the auction site, $24,500. 2002 Caterpillar 928G, as in George loader. And that machine had 5,058 hours on it. Runs, drives, operates, transferable registration, enclosed cab, new tires in 2022. That final bid was $27,500. Third was 2007 International Workstar 7,500 dump truck, and the last four of the VIN were 0009. It had an odometer reading of 68,329 miles. Runs, drives, operates. The final bid on that piece of equipment was $10,600. Number 4 was the 2005 International Workstar 7,500 dump truck. Last 4 digits are 5289, and that odometer reading was 63,210 miles. Runs, drives, operates. The final bid was $8,400. Number 5 was a 2007 Silverado Chevrolet 2500 HD. Last 4 digits are 1896 of the VIN number, and the runs, gasoline odometer reading 103,143 miles, and the final bid on that piece of equipment or vehicle was $1,800. Number 6 was a 2007 Chevrolet Silverado 2500 HD. The last 4 digits of the VIN were 9879. And again, it had an extended cab. Engine was a 6.0. Gasoline odometer reading of 177,802 miles. Runs, and the final bid on that was $900. Next, number 7, we had a 2008 Chevrolet Impala. Last 4 of the VIN is 8335. Body was a sedan 4-door, engine 3.5, odometer reading 147,934 miles. Runs, drives, out of service approximately. It just says that a lot of large rust, and that final bid was $600. Number 8 is a 2008 Durango Dodge XST. That was actually an SUV type vehicle, and 4-door. That was a gas motor, and the odometer reading was 119,980 miles. Runs, drives, rust, poor condition. That final bid was $700. Number 9 was an accumulation of 4 Goodyear tires, used, rusted rims, off of a Cat 928G loader. 20.5-25 was the size. Final bid was $150. Number 10, Stanley BR45 hydraulic breaker. Used, was working when taken out of service. Final bid on that lot was $130. Number 11 is 2 items. They were still blower. Operating conditions, there was 2 of those. And, operating condition unknown. That final bid was $40. And the last but not least, number 12, there was 3 light bars, operating condition unknown. That total was for $90. Under the recommendation of the highway superintendent to go ahead and award those bids on those pieces of equipment that were put out to auction for surplus that were no longer needed or usable for the highway department or the town in any way, shape, or form. Under the recommendation, I would make a motion that we go ahead and approve that, send a letter tomorrow morning to the superintendent of highways and let him move forward on that.
I'll second that.
So I will say we have a motion on the floor and a second. Is there any conversation on that, gentlemen? Everybody's good with that?
Yes.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor with a second to move forward and accept those as bids and award them. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. Next, we have on the agenda, under new business, we are going to do the introduction law, number 3, moratorium prohibiting review of applications for battery energy storage systems. This is specifically to put a moratorium on the battery energy storage systems in the town of Plattekill for approximately 6 months as we go through the stages of learning and finding out what best suits the needs and the requirements. So bear with me, this is going to be a lot of reading as well. So, Town of Plattekill, introductory law, local law, moratorium prohibiting review of applications for battery energy storage systems. Being enacted by the Town Board of the Town of Plattekill, County of Ulster, State of New York, as follows. Section 1, legislative findings, purpose of intent. The purpose of intent of this local law is to protect the public health, safety, and welfare of the residents, property owners, and businesses in the Town of Plattekill by temporarily prohibiting the processing and review applications for approval of battery energy storage systems, BESSS. Pending review of the town's comprehensive plan and the adoption of any amended land use regulations in accordance with the comprehensive plan, the town board is aware of the safety and the environmental concerns regarding BESSS, especially after fire incidents at BESS facilities across the state. New York State has prepared draft resolution intended to address safety concerns, which regulations are not finalized. The board intends to include the regulations of BESSS in the town comprehensive plan, which the town is in the process of updating. After completion of the comprehensive plan, review of the final state safety regulations, and review of the other sources, the town board will be able to address amended land use regulations. Section 2, moratorium imposed. A, commencing on the effective date of this local law and continuing for 6 months or thereafter, no town board officer or employee shall process or review any application involving a BESS or which includes a BESS. B, this moratorium may be extended by 1 additional period of up to 6 months by resolution of the town board upon findings of need for such extension. C, during the period of moratorium, the town board shall endeavor to adopt, amend law, use regulation pertaining to BESSS. Section 3, hardship relief from moratorium. In order to prevent an unlawful taking of property and to prevent unnecessary injury or irreparable harm, the town board may grant limited relief from this moratorium pursuant to the standard and the requirements herein. An applicant seeking such relief shall be required to show by clear and convincing evidence, including credible dollars and cents proof, that the applicant cannot make reasonable use of its property for any of the uses permitted in the zoning district, that the moratorium causes extraordinary injury or irreparable harm to the applicant, and that it would be unreasonable and unjust not to grant relief from the moratorium. Any relief granted by the town board shall be the minimum necessary, and the town board may impose conditions on any relief granted. All such applications shall be deemed unlisted actions under CEQA. B, in the event relief from the moratorium is granted by the town board, the town applicant may proceed to other town boards to apply for required development approvals, notwithstanding any relief granted pursuant to this section. The development approval shall not be granted unless the approved applicant complies with all zoning, land use, and other requirements in effect on the date of approval. C, procedure. An applicant may submit a written application to the town clerk, which applications should include a fee in the amount of $1,000 for each tax map parcel seeking hardship relief within 45 days. After the receipt of the completed application, the town board shall schedule a public hearing on the said application upon at least 5 days published. Upon application, 5 days published and posted written notice at the public hearing. The applicant and any other parties wishing to present evidence with respect to the application shall have the opportunity to be heard. Within 30 days after the close of the public hearing, the town board shall render its decision, either granted, denying, granting in part, or denying in part the application. Section 4, notice to applicants. New BESS regulations. The section provides notice to all applicants and other persons that although an application authorizing pursuant to Section 3 above may proceed in the review process, the applicant process at its own risk because such applications may be impacted by and may be denied because of BESS regulations adopted during or after the period of this moratorium. Section 5, default approvals abolished. Notwithstanding any law, rule, or regulation to the contrary, no land use or development approval shall be granted, deemed granted, or dispensed with as a result of the passage of time. Section 6, suppression of inconsistent laws, if any. To the extent this local law is adjudged by a court of competent jurisdiction to be inconsistent with any provisions of the town zoning code or with any provisions of Article 16 of the state law, town law, including but not limited to Section 130, 261, 262, 263, 264, 265, 267, 267-A, 267-B, 268, 269, 274-A, 274-B, 276, 277, 278, and 279, or with any other provisions of law that the town may supersede pursuant to the state municipal home rule law and the New York State Constitution, then this local law shall supersede any such provisions and sections. Section 7, serviceability. If any section, part, or provision of this local law or application, therefore, to any person or circumstance is adjudged invalid by the court of competent jurisdiction, such judgment shall be confined in its operations to the section, part, provision, or application directly and expressly adjudged invalid and directly involved in the litigation in which such judgment is rendered, and such judgment shall not affect or impair the validity of the remainder of this local law or the application thereof to other persons or circumstances. The town board declares that it would have adopted the local law or the remainder thereof had such invalid provisions or invalid applications been apparent. Section 8, effective date of this local law shall take effect immediately upon filing with the Secretary of State. So that is the motion. So there's a motion on the floor to move forward with this introductory local law of moratorium prohibiting the review of applications for battery energy storage systems. And the next will be the actual resolution portion. So I will make a motion that Resolution 65 of 2024, introductory law number 3, and providing for public notice and hearing, moratorium prohibiting review of applications for battery energy storage systems, be it resolved that an introductory local law titled Moratorium Prohibiting Review of Applications for Battery Energy Storage Systems be and it hereby is introduced by the town of Plattekill, resolution number 65, before the town board of the town of Plattekill in the county of Ulster and state of New York. Be it further resolved that copies of the aforesaid proposed local law be laid upon the desk of each member of the board, and be it further resolved that the board hold a public hearing on the said proposed local law at the Town Hall, 1915, Route 55, Wadena, New York, 12548 at 7 p.m. on November 20th, 2024. And be it further resolved that the clerk post and publish or cause to be published a public notice in the official newspaper of the town of Plattekill of said public hearing at least 10 days prior thereto. So this is a motion, and we're looking for a second to move forward.
I will second that motion.
So we have a motion on the floor to approve with a second. Any questions? Nope. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried.
And the date of the public hearing is November 20th?
Yes. It will be November 20th at 7 p.m. All right. Thank you.
Can we put that on the big sign out front?
Actually, we probably could do that. And it will be on our website and Facebook page as well. Let's see here. So we are going to put a notice in the paper of the elected officials' salaries, and so we will do that tomorrow. We can get that done. All right, the next thing, I have a letter to read, and this is a resignation letter. And this letter was received in my office October 8th, 2024. It says, Dear Supervisor, this is to advise you that I'm submitting my 2 weeks notice. My last day will be October 22nd, 2024. And this was received from Edward Dillard, and he is our building inspector. So we will be putting on our website and in the paper that we will be looking for a new building inspector to replace Mr. Dillard. And we would like to wish him all the best. And I will make a motion that we accept his letter of resignation.
I'll second it.
We have a second. All in favor? Aye. And opposed?
Could I say nay with an explanation and not trying to keep him?
Yeah.
It's just like, I hated to see him go because, number one, he was instrumental in doing this moratorium for battery storage, but he wanted to go, so well wishes to him.
Yep. And again, he was very instrumental in a lot of aspects of our day-to-day operations and did a ton of work. And we were grateful for the work that he did and the mark that he actually left with Plattekill on his parting, and wish him nothing but the best of luck in the future. Okay, so a motion on the floor. Second. All in favor? Aye. Aye. And so carried. And let's see. We have resignation, parking enforcement. So we have a request, and the request is from the chief of police, and they are looking for money to actually purchase appearance tickets. And right now, we did not have it funded in the 2024 budget, but they are looking for a total of 2,500 tickets to be printed, and that would be a cost of $720.29. This can be supported through our ARPA funds, and we would have to pass a resolution for this, which is no problem. We can do that the next time. But what they're looking for is their appearance tickets. They're white. I don't know all of the verbiage here, what it actually means. Is 16 CB, 4.5 by 6.25. They're black and red. They're on canary paper. They're fluorescent orange as well, and Horizon information. What they are is they're actually a ticket, to the best of my knowledge, that actually has an envelope, and they are to cover parking infractions, parking in front of hydrants, parking in loading zones, and as well as handicap parking and what have you. And as we increase the number of vehicles that are in our town and the folks that are actually utilizing the facilities or whatever, I guess there's a plethora of complaints by the businesses that people are parking in areas where they shouldn't park. So this is something that will be prescribed by New York State V&T law, but we never had the tickets printed up to actually cover something like this. So he is looking for $720.29. Questions?
Ticket revenue stays with us or goes elsewhere?
I believe what ends up happening with that specific line, and I believe I'm accurate, that any fines that are collected by the court get sent to New York State, and then they get sent back to the locale. So it seems strange to me, or odd, that the funds go to New York State and come back.
Right.
Generally, New York State grabs everything, but I believe what that is it's a procedure, and it goes with all the other monies that are collected. But that specific money does return to the town.
So dollar for dollar.
Dollar for dollar. Yeah. Other questions? Okay, so I will make a motion that we move forward and offer him the $720.29 and support that through the ARPA funds.
I will second that.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to move forward with a $720.29 request for 2,500 tickets and to support that through the ARPA funds. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. Thank you. Okay, let's see here. I'm going to keep on going. So I received this letter. The police department had received this, and I asked if I could read this because, again, this is the stuff that we typically don't see, and I think it's important. So October 10th, 2024, Chief of Police Oscar Lopez, Deputy Chief William Smith, Town of Plattekill, Police Department, 1124 Milton Turnpike, Clintondale, New York, 12515. Dear sirs, on September 18, 2024, at approximately 5 p.m., I had a disturbing encounter with a trespasser on my property at 108 Anderson Road in Plattekill. My family owns 70 acres of land on Anderson, which includes a workshop garage that holds equipment, work vehicles, tools, etc. Upstairs, I keep an exercise equipment which I utilize after work, and on this day, I stopped by the property to get a quick workout. There are usually other family members and our dogs around at this time, but everyone had gone home and I was there alone. Soon after entering the building, I noticed that although the front gate was closed, I saw through the upstairs window that a person was coming down the driveway on a bicycle. He was sort of raggy and wearing a backpack. I had never seen him around the area before. I had already locked the doors to the shop when I got there, so I initially was not too concerned. I attempted to observe from the upstairs windows where the individual had gone, but my view was obstructed by the awning in the front of the shop. I then heard a very loud, very harsh banging on the door. It was so frightening, and I had a real fear that this man was going to somehow make his way into the building. I contacted my husband and asked if he might know who this person was, but he immediately advised me that he did not. That he was on his way and that he would contact the police department. I was unaware if the man was still at the front door or where he had gone to, and I was completely terrified. Within minutes, Officer Brian Benjamin was on the scene. He checked around the area quite quickly, but the trespasser was not to be found. He did see tire tracks on the bicycle, but did not know where he disappeared to. Officer Benjamin was in contact with another officer out on the road and proceeded to search the area. Although we did not uncover the stranger, who the stranger was, I was never so relieved to see the Plattekill Police Department car coming down the driveway. Since this unnerving incident occurred, we have invested in a surveillance camera system. We have also been encouraged by the increased police presence in the area and around Anderson Road. Officer Rob Vasta had been by several times to check on us, and we're very grateful. I understand that trespassing is not high on the list of crimes out there, but as I was deeply frightened to think what may have happened to either myself or my property had Officer Benjamin not arrived when he did, please know that the efforts made on behalf of that day are greatly appreciated. My family is very impressed by the professionalism shown and the heartened by the kind controversy or courtesy given to us. Both of you, as leaders in our community, should be so proud of the exemplary members of your law enforcement team. We hope you will extend our gracious gratitude to everyone involved and acknowledge the great work that they put forth each day. May God bless and shield you always. Best, D. Leach and family, 4 Guilford Schoolhouse Road, New Paltz, New York, 12561. And that is a very respectful, very, very nice letter. I thought that needed to be read. All right, next we have a request for filming, and this is an interesting request. We actually have filming going on for a movie. I had a gentleman reach out to my office about 2 weeks ago, and he had requested a parking spot or an area where he could park vehicles off the road, and they were going to film a movie at a couple different locations here in Plattekill. One of the locations was down just north of Al Houston Road on the S-turns at the old Plattekill Brook Farm with the large red barns. That's where they are going to do the primary filming. The next area of filming is going to be at the barbecue joint up the road here, and I believe that both of those days, both those sites was going to be approximately 5 days of filming. They had reached out again to the office, and basically I am going to read the email that they sent. And the email is from Austin, and I'm not sure that I'm going to pronounce the last name. It looks like Siger. And this is Tuesday, October 15, 2024. It says, "Hi, Tiffany and Dean. Thank you so much for helping with our filming requests so far in the township of Plattekill. We would like to add driving scenes to our schedule to take place around the roads of our current location, 2295 New York 32. The scenes would involve a Chevy Yukon with a camera attached to the hood of the vehicle, secured by a grip department, and a following van vehicle where a director would view what's happening on the camera. We are not asking for traffic stoppage, but we would like to inquire about having one police vehicle with us on the day of the filming and what that request would entail. The planned filming date is October 31st, and they were looking for approximately 8 to 10 hours, and this would commence during the midday, and with actual filming, driving happening intermittently during the daylight hours of the day. Thanking you for working with us," and he signs it, Austin. So in the term, specific time of day should be from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m., and the filming will be intermittent throughout the time. And thank you so much again. We're excited to work with the township, Austin. So That being said, the request is to have one of our Plattekill PDs actually assist or be there for safety purposes. The request is also, he requested a price to do that. So they're looking to compensate the town for that particular day for those hours. And what I would like to do is first get your guys' opinions, and I will let you know what mine are afterwards. So, Mr. Fazio?
I think if he's willing to pay for it, I think it would be okay.
Okay. Mr. Hoppenstead?
I'm in agreement, as long as he's willing to pay for our time and our gas and everything else. He's just doing it to be safe, I understand.
Mr. O'Flaherty?
I would say pay and cover. So if we're going to take this guy to go with the movie shoot, if he's on, we need to have somebody covered for where he was supposed to be.
Good point. Good point. So I do believe that if we do go forth with something like this would be considered one of those special details.
Yeah, absolutely.
So my thought would be that the special detail would not involve just a police officer, but it would be involve a use of equipment that is owned by the town. I would also require some sort of compensation for reaching out to our attorney to make sure the liability is okay.
Yeah, I think all of that.
So I will say this, that I do not know what those numbers would be, and I would forward, in the best case scenario, forward this letter to the chief and have him come up with a number, and then from there I would reach back out, and I guess for lack of better words, if it's an escrow account per se, I don't know what that would be to call the attorney. They may do it for nothing. I could also reach out to the Association of Towns for nothing to see what the liabilities are, which really would make more sense. But I do know that we've done this in the past. So
what did we do in the past?
In the past, that's what we've done.
Yeah.
We charged them for the day, and you did it actually as a special assignment, one of those special things.
Yes, you're not taking the guy off of the shift.
No, we would not lessen any coverage anywhere. It would be a special detail is what it would be. So I will make a motion or actually I should let one of you guys do that, to allow me the opportunity to pass this off to the chief to realize what a realistic cost would be for that. So it's up to you guys what you would like to do as far as a motion.
I'll make a motion that we let you pass this off to Chief Lopez to come up with a number, and if they're willing to pay the number, approve it.
Okay. And also to include reaching out to the Association of Towns with liability.
Reach out to the lawyers, and if we have to pay the lawyer, they have to cover that.
Okay.
Also.
So just correct me if I'm wrong. You're making a motion to give me the approval to pass this on for a true value to the Chief of Police, Chief Lopez, to come up with the cost estimate, and also to have the supervisor contact the Association of Towns just to check on the liability and come back with an idea. I will tell you this, that before we approve that, I will tell you that the anticipated date, not the anticipated date, the requested date is October 31st.
Yeah, Halloween.
So we are not going to have a meeting in between now and then. So if I may, I don't want to lead you, but I kind of want to leave that open, that if everything is,
as long as
it's found
covered,
then
every cost, we move forward.
Okay, so there's a motion on the floor. Second?
Second. Go ahead,
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to move forward and give the supervisor the authority to pass on the information to the chief of police and to reach out to the Association of Towns just to discuss the liability. And if everything fits and works out, then we move forward. Okay, so motion on the floor with a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. Okay, and I will keep you guys informed when that will be. So we have, before I do this,
we didn't approve the minutes either.
Oh, jeez, you got to let me. You got to know this in advance here, dude. You're right.
Just remember.
So, going back to the minutes, I did. I apologize. I did not make a motion to not read the minutes. So I will first make a motion to not read the previous minutes from our previous meeting.
I'll second that.
So we have a motion not to read the minutes from our previous town board meeting, and we have a second on the floor. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. Okay, I will also make a motion to approve the minutes of our previous meeting.
I will second.
And we have a second to approve the minutes of our previous meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So carried. Thank you. Good looking out. A little late, but good looking out. Okay, is there any other questions, comments, concerns by the board? Mr. Hoppestead? Nope. Mr. Fazio?
I don't believe so.
Okay, Mr. O'Flaherty?
No, sir.
All right, I want to thank you guys also for all your hard work, as well as Sarah, our town clerk, in our budget meetings. I know it is not easy work, so it's greatly appreciated. I am going to make a motion to approve the vouchers. I, Supervisor Depew, make a motion to pay the voucher detail report dated October 16, 2024, which includes the A General Fund in the amount of $36,582.03, the DA Highway Fund in the amount of $6,868.61, the SA Clintondale Lighting in the amount of $977.52, and the Modena Lighting District in the amount of $1,797.52. This would be for a grand total in the amount of $46,225.68, recognizing that the Audit Committee has reviewed the claims and found them acceptable for payment. So that is a motion.
I'll second that.
And we have a second to approve the payment of the vouchers. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. Thank you. Okay, I believe we have covered anything. Again, the board is questions, comments, concerns. Our town clerk, do we have any questions, comments, concerns? I will make a motion that we adjourn at 9:50 p.m.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion to adjourn at 9:50 p.m. with a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. Thank you.